g'day mates, WWE Hall of Famer here, Bushwhacker Luke, and I'm on WPOV Global.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of WPOV Global. I am your reigning, undisputed, universal host for the evening, the lone wolf Andy Anderson, Mr. T. James Logan, conspicuous by his absence. I'm not exactly sure where he is, but hopefully he's doing well, and we wish him the best. With us, though, as always, the man, the myth, the legend. No, he can't be the legend because that's T. James Logan. The man, the myth, the gentleman, Mr. Elio Canellis. Elio, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
Good. A man of many words, as usual.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get the show started, because today is November 11th that we're doing this, it's Remembrance Day here in Canada. It's Veterans Day in the States. So just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of those in the past and in the present who've given their lives, given the service, have given their all to protect all of us and our freedoms. One of those amongst us from the WPOV family, Mr. Tony Diaz. So to him, to all the veterans, to everybody listening that's currently serving, has served, we thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've done, because without you, heck, we probably wouldn't be able to do a show like this.
Yep.
So thank you very much. All right. Before we get to tonight's AEW Dynamite, we've got some housekeeping, some of our things that we have to take care of. First and foremost, this past Saturday night, AEW Full Gear pay-per-view.
Yes.
We reviewed that in our Aftermath show. I think generally, Elio, I think we could say it was a good show. It was definitely a step above what they normally put on for TV.
It was good, and I have to say, when I was saying like I didn't like the barbed wire, it's because when WWE was in the Attitude Era, it's like you saw it every week almost, and like after that, it wasn't special anymore. This time, I kind of didn't mind it because it's like once in a while.
Yep. And you know what? When we get to later on in the Dynamite show, I'm actually going to reference back to the barbed wire, because there was something that I noticed this weekend, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Okay.
How about, do you have the grades in front of you? We have the poll for the overall grades of the pay-per-view.
For the poll, let me get the grades here. We had 43% gave the pay-per-view an A.
Yep.
29% gave the pay-per-view a B and a C. They were both equal.
So 29-29.
And 0% gave it a D.
All right. Well, that's good. So no horrible grades, no failing grades for the pay-per-view.
Oh.
I think overall, it was one thing I will point out for some of the sharper listeners that may have listening. It was the 43 and then 29. If you add that up, I think that's like 102, 103%. So I think just with the system that we use, the rounding of it may have rounded up. So I think if you do 42%, 29%, 29%, that gives us an even 100. So if there's any sticklers out there, don't panic. That's we noticed that. We took care of that. And it's fair. I mean, I think a lot of you that saw it, overall gave it a solid rating, thought it was a solid show. But at the same time, if we take that kind of B and C and put that as kind of the average, above average grade, it seemed that more of you thought that was kind of an average, above average show, which was kind of in line with what we thought. So kudos to you for that. All right, Full Gear. If you want to do any more, if you want to listen to any more of that, please check out our Aftermath show, WPOV Aftermath, where we covered Full Gear in full. Next up, we have our hot topic. Elio, what was our hot topic? What was the results?
Our hot topic for this week was, does John Silver deserve a singles push? And the options were yes, no, or who.
and what were the results, my friend?
So the results were 44% said yes, 28% said no, and 28% also said who.
All right. So 44%. Yeah. Do we have any comments or anything like that? Is there any feedback that
Let's see the comments.
Well,
on
while
this
you're
one.
looking, you know what? I'm a believer in John Silver. I was actually the one that's kind of suggested this topic. I enjoy what I've seen with him from the past. To me, he's someone that I think sticks out from the Dark Order. It kind of just sticks out from the show in general. I think he makes the most of the time he's given. He's got a lot of energy, a lot of charisma, and I think in time, given the right storyline, which these days I'm almost kind of wondering with AEW, but I think given the right platform, I think he could be a breakthrough star.
Okay, and I do have one comment
Okay.
from Rick Serrano III.
Oh, fabulous. What does Mr. Rick Serrano III have to say?
So Rick says, "Who? Oh, you're talking about Marco Stunt on steroids? Hell no, he doesn't deserve a singles run. How about the guy who runs the Dark Order? Where the hell is Brody Lee?"
All right. Well, first of all, let's consider the source. It's Rick Serrano III. Second of all, Mr. Rick Serrano III, I will agree with you on where is Brody Lee. That's part of my issues with AEW and inconsistencies. And I understand that they only have 2 hours of programming. I'm not going to include Dark. Yeah, no, we haven't heard from him in a while. That's a very valid point. As to who and hell no, he didn't really give any reasons why. So he just said no. So you know what? I'm not really going to touch on that anymore, because if you're not going to give me anything else to really work with, Rick Serrano, then I'm not going to give you the time of day. How do you feel about that, Elio?
You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, he didn't really answer the question. He just, no. He didn't really back it up. So you know what? I know you could be somewhat of a talker, so it kind of disappoints me that you could just say no and then not even attempt to try and back it up. So Rick Serrano III, do better.
So, okay, I'm going to give you my take on this.
Yes, please.
I was never a fan of the Dark Order from when we first saw them on AEW. And I don't know what to think of John Silver, and I didn't know what to think of him, but seeing him lately with the showing like more personality than the rest of them, I can definitely see him moving away from the Dark Order and going on his own.
Right, like maybe like a mid card kind of singles push.
I wouldn't put him at the top,
Yep.
but I can see him in mid card. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Kind of like a mid upper card baby face. What?
What is going on?
What is going on here?
Why are you? I thought you weren't going to be on the show tonight.
Yeah.
I was, and I sent you an email, and then you sent me one saying we were going to do a live feed from the Unicorn Bar down at the beach, and that I had to dress up, and we were going to do something live there. What the hell, Swole?
Is it a new day?
Okay.
I'm not stuck in this stupid unicorn. What the hell?
Okay. For those of you listening that are not actually getting any video feed here, our esteemed co-host, Mr. T. James Logan, who told me he wasn't going to be on the show, showed up in a very colorful unicorn-inspired attire. I sent you that email, but then I sent you the other email not too long after that saying, you know what, scrap the idea just because it's a little bit cold outside. So we're not going to do the beach thing. We're just going to do our regular show. You didn't get one email.
I got one email.
Elio, did you get the second email?
I got the second email.
Well, obviously you got the second email because you and I were doing the show.
You guys suck. You guys really suck.
You seriously didn't get a second? You seriously didn't get a second email?
Did you check your junk folder?
You guys are junk. Fine. Well, you know what? I'm here. Let's do this show. Fine.
Okay, so you're actually doing the show with us? You're actually here?
Yeah, I'm actually here.
Do we have to start all over again then, or are we just going to pick up and go from here?
Just pick up from where you guys are going. I'm listening. I'm in.
Okay, so Elio, we're going to stop at this point as to our new hot topic about why T. James Logan is better. He's not on today's show. So we'll just scrap that completely then. Okay, so let's go to how about our interdimensional poll? Let's. I'm sorry, I'm a little thrown off here.
So our intergalactic, interdimensional, promotional, whatever you want to call it. We have Sammy Guevara versus Sami Zayn.
The Battle of the Sammys.
Battle of the Sammys.
And let's see the results here: 78% went with Sami Zayn, while 20% went with Sammy Guevara.
So sorry, was it 78%?
78 went with Sami Zayn.
22%. Well, so all right. How about for me extending the olive branch, the proverbial olive branch of friendship? My friend, why don't you go first and give us your thoughts on Sammy versus Sammy?
And by friend, you mean Elio?
Well, I didn't say
You didn't
son.
say who your friend was.
I didn't say my son. I said my friend.
You know what? This is a pretty good matchup. Pretty interesting matchup. A young guy who's only been a couple of years around versus a guy. I mean, what's Sammy's been around at least 15 years, I would think. I mean,
think so.
Years as El Generico all across the stuff.
Mhm.
But when you really think about it, I really think some people might talk, and I'm going to take this whole career into thing. So I'm even thinking of back of El Generico and everything on the way. I'm going to have to go with Sami Zayn because I think he has a great body of work. And unfortunately, a lot of people say, well, he's really tied to the hip with Kevin Owens through all those 15 years.
Yeah.
But I think Sammy Guevara, I mean, he's going to be a great heel, right? He's got that face you want to punch every time you see him. You just want to punch him in the face. And he's obviously very, very athletic. But I just don't know, and I don't want to sound like I'm dumping on AEW, but he's definitely not getting the exposure that Sami Zayn has gotten the last couple of years at WWE. And I just think WWE has made him much more of a rounded wrestler. So I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn on this one.
All right. Elio, how about you?
Yep, I'm going with Sami Zayn, much like what TJ said. His body of work outside of WWE, like he's been ROH, El Generico, he's been around for a long time. Sammy Guevara is still relatively new. Like I first saw him when we were watching MLW. So I'm gonna, and he still needs work. So I'm gonna go with Sami Zayn on this one.
All right, so Sami Zayn, 2 for 2. I'll complete the trifecta and make it 3 for 3 with Sami Zayn. Similar reasons. I think overall body of work to this point, it's kind of tough to, unfortunately kind of gives the short end of the stick to Sammy Guevara in that respect. Sammy or El Generico with a greater body of work. I think if we didn't have the pandemic, Sammy's promo work in the last 6-8 months or whatever, I think has been awesome. To me, he's been a heel's heel. I love it. The finish they had with their that ladder match, I think was brilliant. It was different, and so I don't know how much of a role he played in that, but I mean, the fact that it was him kind of playing it out and coming out the victor, I thought was great. Sammy, yeah, it's be interesting to see in time what AEW does. One thing that's kind of stuck out to me, I remember early on, Chris Jericho, and I get, you're trying to put guys over and stuff, but the early days of AEW in the inner circle, I remember Chris Jericho saying, it's like, oh, he reminds me of a young Eddie Guerrero. That to me was a stretch. And to me, that's like, whoa, that's really putting the cart before the horse.
Mm-hmm.
In that regard. So I mean, those are incredible shoes to fill. So I hope that doesn't, kind of stick for Sammy and he can develop on his own. And the other thing, though, to his credit, as much TJ as you said about him being, the heel that you just kind of want to punch. Recently, the tag match with who was it? It was the inner circle. Was it Jericho and Sammy? Who was it that fought Wardlow and MJF?
Oh, that was
Ortiz and
Ortiz and Sammy.
Yeah.
Ortiz and Sammy.
Yep.
And I mean, and they were more the baby faces in that role.
Mhm.
And I remember commenting then, I thought that, Sammy could have tremendous potential as a baby face.
Yeah.
Which it's great. So I mean, that gives him, the versatility.
Yeah.
To be a baby face or a heel. So you know what? Maybe down the road we can look back and go, wow, maybe we're wrong. But for now, I think Sami Zayn for the three-peat amongst us.
And that being said, the only thing that would have changed my mind on this whole thing is if Sammy Guevara was 15 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
And still wrestled at the way he is. I just think he's too small to really, and it's not a world of small men making it big. And Sami Zayn got lucky that he really had the talent to for people in WWE to look at him. That just makes it even harder for Sammy Guevara being a very light, smaller guy.
Yep.
In a big man's world. So
I would agree with you. And the other thing right now too, something we touch on is again, right now only 2 hours of programming for AEW. Guys only have so much time and you got to make the most of the time you're given. And but if you're not given that time,
Mhm.
what can you do? All right, that takes care of our interdimensional, intergalactic
Oh,
poll.
we do have some comments.
We have some
Oh, we have
comments.
comments.
All right,
We
let's
do.
go to the comments.
So Clay Cummings says, I would have to say Sami Zayn on this one. I feel Guevara still has a lot to learn, and Zayn has proven himself as a wrestler. To me, Zayn is a lot more entertaining as well.
Okay, thank you, Clay Cummins, for that. Makes sense.
Chris Searle says, oh, Sami versus Sami. I got Zayn more seasoned and has all the tricks up his sleeve.
Yep.
And Mark Torres says it would be a hell of a fun match, but I gotta go with my boy Sami Zayn on this one. Give them 20 minutes and they're gonna tear the house down.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
what-
I agree with that.
And last comment, Josh Sanders says, Sami Zayn, he is a seasoned vet by now and better on the mic and doesn't go around hurting people like Sammy Guevara.
Wow.
Oh, ouch.
Damn.
All right. Well, at least amongst the comments and amongst all of us, it's pretty unanimous. Sami Zayn for the win. And again, I think we all kind of touch on it. It goes back to that experience being the and the large body of work that Sami Zayn has compared to Sammy Guevara. So.
Mhm.
All right. We're gonna take a short break and then we're gonna start our review of AEW Dynamite. Is that what we're gonna do, Elio?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hang tough. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back to WPOV Global. I'm the lone wolf, Andy Anderson, along with the very colorful Mr. T. James Logan, and the gentleman, Mr. Elio Canellis. Before we get looking to tonight's AEW Dynamite episode, we got lots of merch. We got shirts. We got everything. I'm usually not one to plug these. Elio or TJ, do you guys want to?
We got t-shirts available. We have 4 different colors for WPOV, and we have one WPOV Global that you can find at prowrestlingtees.com/wrestlingpov.
You know what? I just want to quickly say before we go forward. Sorry,
Yes.
guys. I know this is a surprise I popped on. Originally, and there was a surprise for these guys too that I popped on. I had been traveling across the mountains. I had no idea if I would get back to even watch Dynamite. Somehow, flukily, everything I got back at 6:15. So I sat back and caught up on the PVR and thought, I'll just jump in and join the fun. So that they're legitimately surprised I'm here. I said, Andy, you guys are gonna have to run this week because I just don't know if I'll make it back. So, but go on, let's do this. AEW Dynamite.
All right, AEW Dynamite. Our show opens up with TJ's favorite team, Taz, coming on.
God, they're bad.
Taz for the promo. Amongst other things, he points out that the face of TNT, Darby Allin, is sitting up in the bleachers there. He also tells us that Brian Cage is going to actually wrestle on AEW Dynamite and defend. It was in FTW.
He's actually going to wrestle. What was he doing up to now?
He was just he was appearing more than he was wrestling.
And as much as they referenced the FTW belt, it was not up for grabs.
Okay.
So why does it even exist?
So he was gonna well, as Taz says, it's a lifestyle.
It's like okay, fair enough.
All right, well then let's take a look at this opening non-FTW title match between Brian Cage and Mr. Matt Sydal. Mr. T. James Logan, sir, what did you think of that match?
Well, I have some notes wrote down. I noticed that I kind of liked the opening part with Taz because he really did put over Matt Sydal, who I think needed it because they kind of just threw him away a couple weeks ago. But the match was okay. I mean, you never really had that feeling at all that Sydal had much of a chance here. He seemed really overwhelmed a lot. But there's one thing I freaking hate, okay? And this is I'm going to bring this up every match I see this on national television. But when you jump up and slap your thigh super hard right into the camera, and you can see the camera can see you slapping your thigh to make that noise, you're going to get called out. Brian Cage does a jumping enziguri kick in the corner to Sydal, slaps his thing as hard as he can.
So do we have a new entry for the book?
I don't know. You guys, should we do entry? Should we do a section of thigh slapping Yeah, I think we're going to create a new chapter in the book. Every person who we catch slapping a thigh to make a move on national television, if we see you make the slap, you get caught. Not only do you go in, but the cameraman who recorded it goes in, because that's some sloppy shit.
Hey,
Okay,
you know
that's
what?
sloppy.
That's not the cameraman, because the cameraman is just recording what's there.
Mhm.
That's on the producer, the director.
Okay, then okay, somebody else. There are people going in, but you guys, come on, you guys saw that. It was so bad. Like it wasn't even like, oh, I caught it out of the corner of my eye. It was like boom, slap, kick.
It kind of reminds me of the Iggy that Phoenix gave Penta during their match. I don't know if you guys
Yeah,
noticed that one.
yeah. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that one too. But
all right.
like I said though, I did not think it was kind of a boring match. Like Brian Cage has yet to really, like, he looks like he should be a super cool wrestler with his build and stuff, but man, he's just not doing much for me right now. Not my thing.
Fair enough. All right, Elio.
Yeah.
In 100 words or less.
I've never been a fan of Brian Cage, and again tonight this match just didn't work for me.
Okay.
Is the word count as a word?
What do we
have? We have a word counter now.
The official Elio word count. We're gonna have to start doing that.
Yes.
Make that a thing. All right. You know what? I didn't mind this match, and I think that's in large part due to Matt Sydal. I think he kind of helped carried Brian Cage to a decent match, and pretty simple storytelling, just with big man versus the smaller man. I agree with you. To me, it wasn't really too much ever in doubt who was going to win. Unfortunately, a couple nice false finishes at the end though, so kind of teased it a bit, which I liked. My issue, you can talk about thigh slaps. I didn't understand. There was the one point where Brian Cage came off the ropes and then jumped up like he was going to do like a Hurricane Rana and got power bombed.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you do that if you're twice the guy's weight? Are you actually going to try and do a Hurricane Rana on a guy?
Yeah, that made no sense to me. I don't know why a big guy like that would try to do something like that.
On the reverse side, if you're half a guy's weight, are you going to try and do into a rolling flip to toss him and instead get caught into because he also jumped into a move too that looked ridiculous.
So some of those things they're a little bit on the questionable side, but that I actually made a note of why did Sydal power bomb him? Just that, but for me, I'll give Brian Cage credit. It was a better showing than I've seen. I'd still like to see more, and I don't know if he has the personality, but I would still like to see more personality out of him, just because it was a decent match. Like even afterwards, like you're tired, and I get that, but there was like very little facial expression, very little emotional connection, anything for me to kind of find to, he won the match. Okay, cool.
And you know who got the award for using their character to get over here? Ricky Starks over in the corner. Every time Sydal was down, he'd be mocking Sydal, pointing at doing that stupid forehead thing and laughing at the side of the ring and doing stuff. He was like more of the personality than both those two in this match combined.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know what? That's a good segue into post-match. We had the Ricky Starks promo, which I thought was overall, short, decent little promo. There, I think the only thing they needed to work on was the timing, and I felt bad for him on this. Was he's like, the Revolution's going to be televised, hit it, and then I was like, okay, and because I knew what he was doing, but if you go back and watch, there was like a legit 7-8 seconds before his music came on.
Yes.
So I hope. I don't know if maybe he didn't give the guy the heads up or whatever, but as far as like trying to look professional and looking good, if you're going to go hit it, or someone says hit my music, your music better come on really quick. Otherwise, to me, it just falls flat on its face.
Right. I mean, he could have maybe picked it up with the whole heel of like, hey, you idiots! I said play my music, you stupid. People have done that.
Absolutely. And that would have been awesome. That would have been a nice cover. Like I said, to me, it kind of fell a little flat. And I'm not putting that on Ricky Starks. I'm putting that on on the audio people.
I like Starks. I think his promos are always good. It always, though, makes me funny. Isn't it odd that when he talks, it's almost like Taz is in the background going, oh, shit, they don't really need me. How long till they fire me? Because this guy can talk for the two of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's fair. And you know what? My other little note that I made out of here, it's funny because at first when he said like the FT, something about Ricky Starks or somebody's like towards the end about the FTW, I'm thinking, well, there's FTW, FTR,
Oh, a lot of that.
WTF. Like, I'm just. All right. For WTF, let's go on to the next segment. The biggest superstar, the most important person in AEW, perennial favorite, Cody Rhodes comes out to just an amazing entrance.
Okay, you guys are right. Every time this dude comes out, it's like just even if I had turned off the sound and didn't hear all the craziness going on, right? Just the way he dresses, the way they shoot it, the way everything makes you think this dude owns the company. Like it's like all Cody wrestling. And everyone else is like the little peons, like, he's managed to out Ric Flair. You know what I mean?
I like all Cody wrestling, ACW. I like that.
All Cody wrestling. So he comes out and he does his regular, and it's sort of funny because I always find it that he's kind of underwhelming when he actually speaks. He's just a little too soft spoken for all of the hoopla he brings out.
Yeah.
And he just kind of goes into and he's playing with the fans, which is so indie on the TV. You never see WWE guys ever try and pump up the fans with a few things. So I found that a little ridiculous. That chick was painful. She was good looking.
My God, that was terrible.
Painful to talk.
Oh,
and just when you thought she was the worst talker in the world, Brandy Rhodes managed to make it even shittier. Wow. Talk about shit on shit. This was like a fecal overload for me.
And
Guys,
they were talking about this person who's a bigger giant than Cody, and Cody's not a giant killer, and they named Shaq.
Yeah, and nobody says anything about it. Mr. Tony Khan, who was ready to jump on any match to match up in 2 minutes after the people have said something, yet the biggest star possibly, that they could bring in, not a peep. Who's the Shaq? And come on, guys. Bitch, don't you get in my man's face.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna get to that.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, I'll talk up to. I won't even talk about the post-match attack on him. I'll just talk up to that.
To the promo.
And
okay.
That woman, I don't know. She was attractive looking, but almost manly. And I really hated this part. I hated the part where she thought it was cool to do something and then flex her muscle.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, okay, this is garbage. But all right, go on. You guys go ahead.
All right, Elio, you got 100 words.
This was terrible. When Cody came out, that was fine, whatever, doing his usual promo. When that woman came out, I was like, okay, where are they going now? Like, who is this? And then when she name dropped Shaq, I'm like, Shaq. They just mentioned Shaquille O'Neal one time.
Yeah.
That's it. And then Brandy Rhodes came and made it even worse.
Fair enough. I think that was about 47 words. That's pretty good, Elio. You're getting there.
Going on.
The entrance. I mean, we kind of already touched on that. The early Cody stuff, that's fine. Yeah, the Shaq thing I think fell flat. It's like he said that and the crowd went mild.
Yeah.
So, and even for me, because I was like, is he talking about Shaquille O'Neal? Like, oh yeah, he was backstage Saturday. I'm like, okay. Like that, yeah. But
they need to have an indie guy come out, some 6'8" loser called the Shaq.
I was waiting for, somebody, anybody. I'm trying to think. I'm like,
anybody.
Okay, like who are they debuting here? Like, this is going to be great. And that was, I found to be a letdown. Jade Cargill comes out. Has she been on Dark? I don't even know who she is.
I don't know who she is.
Never heard of
I didn't even get the name until I looked it up on Instagram. They usually put up like
a little bit,
still photos,
Yeah, and that's what I had to do. I caught the Jade, and I had like written down like Jade, and then I was like, I don't know her last name.
I thought she said Cardio. I thought she said her name was Jay Cardio.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. I thought I heard that Jay Cardio.
So her whole thing to me reeked of inexperience. You pointed out the flexing for no reason. There was a lot of arms crossed, a lot of arms folded.
Yeah.
Just the delivery of her promo. I don't know whose idea it was to call herself the total package.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus,
I
yeah.
swear, as soon as I heard that, I'm thinking, I thought Lex Luger was a total package.
Yeah, well, then that's just it. I mean, yeah. So yeah,
And let's face it, Andy. If you're a big dude or a big chick,
yeah,
we can see you're muscular.
Yeah.
You just become a pantomiming joke when you're sitting there flexing and doing this stuff. I saw immediately when she walked out, I went, wow, that chick's cut. I didn't need all that other garbage to make her seem like, oh, she's a clown. I get it.
yeah. Well, that's you know, she's kind of, I don't, yeah, just the flexing. No, I'm not sure who told her to do that. If she did that on her own, then, you know, boo on her. If somebody told her to do that, then yeah. So that, yeah, the giant tease, the Shaq thing, Jade and Brandy. You know what? Brandy coming out. I'm okay with the idea of her coming out because to me, it's like as Jade's jaw jacking with Cody. Okay, that's fine. But at least, she comes out, she's defending her man. So that puts them on an even keel, right? Because if she's not going to have Shaq or she's not going to have anybody else come out, what's Cody going to do?
Yeah.
So at least her coming out, but then, she.
My problem with that, Andy, is nobody's going to get anything back on Brandy, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
If she was a competitive wrestler and she was like a decent wrestler, then I like the fact that she comes out. But basically, she's like the mouthpiece manager coming out to go up against a monster. Doesn't work. I would have been liked it if she had sent Red Velvet out with her.
Yeah, yeah.
At least she's a wrestler.
Yeah.
So for me, it came off as like, okay, Brandy, who likes to jump off the thing and have everyone catch her. Brandy, who has to interfere in the men's match to start her own. Like,
yeah,
it just came off as, no, I didn't.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, no, that's fair. I just, like I said, I got it. I understood it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just, the other thing for me, and I believe I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is something that's going to have to go in the book at some point too, is AEW's use of swearing or allowing talent to swear.
Oh, yes.
And hey, you know what? Like on these shows, I mean, words slip, whatever. I'm by no means a prude. I say my fair share of stuff, mostly off the air.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a time and a place when you're doing it as part of a show. And when you're just throwing it out there, trying to make it mean something,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's like a law of diminishing returns, where the more it happens, it's like the less and less.
What's it means?
Yeah. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they just want kind of swears to be a normal part of their, AEW vernacular.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it adds anything to the show. What do you
don't
about
need it. You don't need it though. Does it you don't sound cool just swearing.
Well, not if you're backing it. You're not really backing it up either. Like the way she said it was so pantomiming.
Like if you're just gonna swear, to swear, then that.
Now, I got a question here. She says to Cody Rhodes, and I just don't know, is did they have a censor who was super late, or did she say something else after it that they thought was worse? Because I heard her say, if you're ever going to think of that shit, don't, and then they bleeped. I'm like, I caught that. Why did they bleep shit, or did they miss the shit? And
I don't know. Yeah, I caught that too. I'm not sure, or unless she was going to say something worse. I don't know.
And see, that's worse. Now I'm so keyed in what dumb words she was using. It lost the effectiveness of what she was trying to say.
It's one of those things where, and you know what? Here, this is an AEW show, so I'll use an AEW talent as an example, and you guys will know where I'm going with this. Jake the Snake Roberts, one of the greatest promos ever. He was a guy that always spoke quietly.
Yep.
When he brought up his voice, when he had to raise his voice, you noticed, and it meant something. And to me, that's no different than swearing or something like that, in the sense that you don't really ever use it until you get to that point where it's like a breaking point, and it's like a solid punch.
Mm-hmm.
But when they just keep like bitch, da 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 da, like it just.
Well, the people who've been swearing have been delivering it not like they're actually angry,
Yeah.
which would make a difference. If they were like, don't bitch, you'd be like, oh, but
Yeah.
instead they're like, don't bitch. I
Yep.
said bitch.
Yeah,
Like-
like they're just reading the script or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
the believability is not there. I always talk about emotional connection. That's not there. Even emotional connection for something like that. If you do that right, you tell the right story, you have the right emotional conviction when you say it, can be as big as any. You could do that, and that could be a bigger spot than doing some triple, double, flippy something or other.
Well, you make a great point because even though that chick stumbled on her stuff and she did the silliest flexing garbage, they almost had me for a moment there getting to think that maybe she was part of something dangerous.
Yep.
But soon as she delivered the shit the way she said it,
Yep.
it just took me out of it. I was like, okay, this is high school kids reading a script.
Yeah.
No, so yeah. So that was that. I think we've spent enough time on giving that enough time. But then we kind of come back around, thankfully, to Brian Cage coming back in the ring, and Ricky Starks come in, and we get the kind of post promo attack from Team Taz. What do we see there?
Oh, it's ridiculous that your big weapon is a jacket with thumbtacks. When your big offensive weapon is a jacket. I mean, I've had to suffer through a skateboard with thumbtacks, which is ridiculous
Is
enough.
this the first time we're seeing that?
I think
so.
He's worn it and never used it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I recall him wearing it but never using it, and then like making a comment like, "Oh, look at his crazy coat."
If we see that again, then
you're hating it that much. I think it's going to be a thing going forward now. I think they're going to downgrade the skateboard because that's a single guy's thing, and I think this will be. I bet
single guy's thing.
Well, no, like I mean, as a singles wrestler, you can get away with running around with a skateboard, but in a team, I don't. Unless you're going to get. I don't see Cody Rhodes unless he gets an executive skateboard or a Segway or something.
You know what though? If it was Chris Jericho wearing a thumbtack jacket, shopaew.com would already have the official thumbtack jackets.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to start selling one for this guy. I mean, he's the face of the company now.
No, the face of TNT.
Face of TNT. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Face of TNT.
You know what? I was glad to see this though, because we talked about it on Aftermath. At least this kind of continues the story and gives some continuity from what we saw at the pay-per-view. There was the post-match attack on Darby. Cody made the save, so here they attack Cody, Darby, and I'm going to say this, and this goes not just for this, but for WWE, for anybody where they do these run-ins where they play the guy's music to make the save. It drives me nuts. Just if everything is, give us a little more suspension of disbelief. So if someone's coming to run out to make the save, hey man, I got to run out to make the save. Hit my music. Okay, hang on. We got to cue it. No, quickly, man, because I got to go. Hit my music. You know what I mean?
It took him so long to get out there. They could have done that. It was such a late run in. It was like, he looked like a freaking knob coming in after all that.
That kind of, coming from up there, that kind of drove me nuts. The thumbtack jacket, like you said, I cringe at the fact that it's probably going to be a regular thing.
Yeah.
And, the more they say the face of TNT, I'm sorry, maybe I'm too corporate, maybe I'm too old, but the face painting 130-pound guy with the thumbtack jacket, sometimes carrying a skateboard, is the face of your main flagship television show, supposedly.
That stuff plays at trailer parks all across New Jersey.
I think you're doing a discredit to the state of New Jersey.
Can I just say one thing? You were right
Yes.
about the whole playing your music to enter thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's only one way that it ever works. Only one way. And we saw it used by like Stone Cold, is when it's a total diversion where everyone stops and turns and hears your music and looks for where you come in, and then you come in from the back way and jump them out. That's awesome. But every other time it falls flat.
Fair enough.
Or you're a guy returning who's a super big star we haven't
Right.
seen forever.
Yes,
His music
yes.
comes on, and everyone goes, "Holy crap! Is that so and
So and
so?"
so. Yeah. I think even just one more quick thought, but
Yeah.
even as you say that, even as just the diversion, to
Mhm.
me, I think even the fact that you sell the music, so I mean, and I don't remember, but I'm kind of doubting it. So like when
Mhm.
Darby's music hits, then Brian Cage, these guys, Ricky Starks, they should be, they should stop, they should look around like, okay, like where is he?
Mhm.
And then it's like, okay, well, if he's not coming, or you as a heel, like if you hear the music and you stop, and if he's coming down the ramp, okay, well then you get a couple cheap shots in
Yeah.
before you get out. But I mean, even here, it's like the music hits, these guys could have stopped, looked around, oh, he's way up there, we got about 40 seconds before he hits the ring, keep going, beat the
Or
crap
is
out
this,
of
or is the psychology that they're such chicken shits that the music just puts them like deers in headlights?
Yeah, I would like to give them a little more credit than
Yeah,
that, and I
okay.
want to give a little bit more to my suspension of disbelief.
Thank you.
Maybe that's just me. Interesting of note before we switch here, late to the party is Will Hobbs. Now I
Very
throw this
late.
out. I throw this out to you. Will
Mhm.
Hobbs coming late,
Mhm.
is that kind of hinting at something or playing at something, or is it just bad booking?
I think it's bad booking, bad timing
Yeah.
from the producers. They've been trying to throw this guy in there as much as they can because he's, let's face it, barely anyone really knows him on Dynamite.
Yep.
He's only had I mean, I suppose if you watch 18 hours of Dark every week, you
Mhm.
might catch him.
Yeah.
But they've been trying to just keep pushing him out there to us.
Right.
I think it would be really dumb to try and make it something like this right now. He's just nobody yet. They got to keep producing him, but give him on time because, dude, he looked like a freaking knob coming in after everything was done. The big scary dude is out there going, "Where are they?"
Yep. No, I agree. And the only, like I said, the only kind of passing thought I could give to, like, the excusable thought to that
Mhm.
is that, okay, and not that it makes a lot of sense, but again, I'm reaching here, is maybe this is like a subtle thing for there's going to be a turn with him joining Team Taz.
I think the only way this could have worked is if they cut to the back and Taz was knocked out in the walkway. So he like slapped Taz around, and then that's what took him for so long to come out. But
That would make sense.
yeah,
That would make sense. I agree.
but just like this, you got to admit, he looked kind of like a knob. If you didn't know anything, he just like, what? Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming out, Hobbs. You don't even have a match. You came out in your trunks. That's another thing. He didn't even have a match, and he's wearing his gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's like the equivalent of like somebody saying is like, that somebody's showing up at the bar after last call. Hey guys, I'm here. I'm ready to party. Dude, last call's done. Like, bar's closed. We're going home.
Yep.
No guys, I'm ready. Let's go. Like, so yeah, I hope just for that sake that it doesn't look as bad, that it's planting seeds for a heel turn, but I don't have confidence in that.
I don't know. That with you, what I think you're going to say next proves how bad they can be for audio, for any kind of technical stuff.
All right. It sounded like you said audio, so let's get to one of Andy's favorite topics.
You're making me hate it just as much, Andy. This was terrible.
Overall today wasn't one of the worst shows, though. It wasn't half bad, so I'll give them that. But we get a Mox promo. I have no idea because the audio was the pits.
Yes. I had no idea what he was talking about. It was an echo through the whole thing, and it never fixed. And they let him, the world champion, talk for 2 minutes, and nobody knows what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah. If it was Cody, it would have got fixed.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, so what I got out of that, though, was that December 2nd episode of AEW Dynamite, we are going to have the championship match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley.
Now, isn't that a little crazy, do you guys think? They're going to put this on instead of a pay-per-view, which I know the next pay-per-view is not till January, but isn't that the match everybody really wants to see? Or maybe I'm wrong, but that's the match.
No.
I would hope that they would put this on like a pay-per-view, but there's like a big one.
Maybe there's not a clean win. Maybe there's something to drag it on.
That's what I say. There's going to be something's going to happen, and they're going to have a rematch at the pay-per-view.
My first thought was, why not a pay-per-view? But then after that, kind of similar to kind of what you were saying earlier, I'm not looking at this as kind of the end. I'm looking at this as a beginning.
Mm.
So whether it's we've kind of bantered about bantered about in the past, about a kind of 4 horsemen kind of thing. Maybe this is the beginning of that. This whatever it's going to be, I think this is more of a beginning than an end. And at least if they do that, granted, they're going to have their beach blast or whatever in January. So if their actual next pay-per-view isn't until, was it end of February?
February. It's
Yeah.
February 27th.
Wow, that is
So-
a long way.
so,
Okay, I
yeah.
get that.
So at least with this, if that's a major happening, maybe this is something that can, carry us to the next pay-per-view.
Oh, man, it just seems like a weird to give away the first time regular. And you know what? They have met before, right?
But
you remember how
I like how Ken. Yeah, and we'll get to this
Yes,
later
we'll
on
get to
how
that.
Kenny met. Yes.
it just seems weird that they would give away to me this first real good clash for free.
No,
Okay.
that's fair. And on the one hand,
Mhm.
I totally get that. I agree with you. On the other hand, it's like I said, I'm trying to put on my booker's hat, my writer's hat, and say,
Mhm.
okay, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of a big story. So
And I'm hoping that's what it is, because I think
Yes.
these two can have incredible
Yes.
down and top matches.
all right. From that, we go to a bloody bunkhouse match between the Butcher, the Blade, what do they call him? The bunkhouse
The
Butcher,
candlestick maker.
the bunkhouse match.
the bunkhouse match, the Butcher and the Blade versus Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall. I'll let you guys go on this. I'm just going to say off the
Mhm.
get-go, this was set up from, was it from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was happy to see, because as we've kind of griped out in the past that
Mhm.
things happen kind of without little setup. Now
Mhm.
this wasn't much of a setup, but it was something. So
was
I'm going to
something.
give them that.
Okay.
Now,
Uh,
what did you find here?
Okay, as an old time wrestling fan, okay,
Yes.
as a guy who watched bunkhouse matches from Dusty Rhodes and the crew back in the 90s and whatnot, this was what reminded me of when WWE started doing their specialty matches, and they build these whole stupid sets and all this dumb crap in the background. That was never in a Dusty Rhodes match. The point of the bunkhouse match was, the idea was you dressed as, you were like, I don't know if it was cowboy kind of thing, but it was just basically a street fight with blue
Yeah.
jeans and anything goes.
That's
And
fair.
having all this crap around it was really dumb. I thought it made it look it took away what could have been cool, but then again, they never really explained it. So that's a problem on their behalf. If they maybe made it clear or showed old footage or whatever to give people an idea of what it should be, it just looked like a cartoon then. QT Marshall, for once, I thought this fit him. He actually looked like he belonged in this match. Usually he doesn't look like he belongs in anything.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Blade, holy crap, that guy is fit. I mean,
Yes.
when he came out, I was like, holy crud, what? He needs to look like that more often instead of the ridiculous crap he usually comes out
Yes, I agree.
with. It was a little over gross, the amount of blood. I just thought it was just overdone. And I thought the wrong team won, because if the Nightmares had lost, it would have been like, oh, well.
Yeah.
However, Butcher and the Blade, these motherfuckers cannot buy a freaking victory.
I feel so bad for them.
I feel so bad for these dudes. They look so good. They have a chance to be something, and they're basically every week they just keep telling us they're big guys who don't do
Like,
things.
why? Why do you keep getting these guys to lose to all these teams?
Do
I
they
don't
do a
get
lot of
it.
matches? Do they do a lot of matches on Dark?
No, they do a couple, but mostly the matches they have in the beginning, like before you came on, they were wrestling almost every week and
Right.
losing every single week to any other team.
They had one battle royal where they actually gave them something to work with in there.
And they come out looking good and then just fall apart right away. And it's just there to make everyone else look good. And it's like, these guys are a legitimate looking team,
Yeah.
and they're just made to look like clowns.
Yeah. So now, so you're saying they very rarely win any matches?
Yeah. Oh, when is the last time, Elio? It's been months since these guys have won a match.
Yeah, you
like
can't
a
remember
long
the last
time.
time.
I wonder if they had some sort of like rankings in place that were like wins and losses.
That's
and
ridiculous. This is pro wrestling.
And if you lost matches, then maybe you shouldn't be on the main TV program, because you should be.
Like the
You should
Dark
be, like,
Order
winning
was
matches or-
But there really isn't a myriad
Dark
of
Order
teams.
was number one contenders. I mean, the
Yeah.
Dark Order
Yeah.
was ranked above them as number one contenders for the tag titles.
That's because they won one match. So it's there's all these great teams in AEW, and basically the only top 3 teams get all of the cred, and all the other teams just like lose to everybody else. So that's the problem there. Butcher and the Blade deserve a lot better than this. They're a talented team.
Yeah.
And I get it. They're making money. Maybe they're just happy they're indie guys who got set up onto the big
happy
show.
to be there.
But you know what? They have more to offer. Like, let's face it. Are the Natural Nightmares ever going to be more than a thing for more than a year? They're not. I mean, Dustin is having, he's still wrestling great at his age, but come on, 51 is pretty tough to be doing these kind of matches. It's not, he doesn't have a long future, and neither does QT Marshall. It'd be fun. They're fun to use sparingly, but they don't need to take this win. It just makes Butcher and the Blade look even ridiculously worse than they have been.
Like I was okay with this match, but like you, the whole everything around the outside, the bale of hair and all that.
Yeah.
Did that enhance anything to you guys, or did
No,
it make
that
you feel
one
like a
didn't,
goofy ass old
like,
WWE 90s
No,
thing?
I didn't like all the stuff around the ring, but the match for me was okay. Like I said, Butcher and Blade, I think should have won this one.
Yeah.
The blood was a little too much. All the blood there was too much, but overall, I was okay with this.
All right. Okay. I'll try and put a bit more of a positive spin here. I didn't mind the match. As far as kind of like the bunkhouse and the brawls go, overall, I was reasonably entertained. I was trying to keep in mind that, kind of through this, the whole sub story besides the attack. Well, I guess part of it was the attack, was the whole thing about was Bunny and kind of with QT, and then so there was so I mean, even at one point there where in the ring it was like Butcher was out, Dustin was out, and it kind of came to those two. I kind of bought into that somewhat. I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense because here's the two guys that are I don't want to say fighting over the girl because they're not exactly fighting over her, but at least again, like I try to find story because that's to me what one of the big things about wrestling. And that's what I find missing. What I thought overall, and maybe we can, and I don't want to. I mean, I kind of don't want to draw the similarity to the dog collar match with Brody and Cody, because with that one, I mean, at least here with this tag match, we had something as to with the bunkhouse brawl, because whatever, they attacked him and the girl, and I'm not saying it's a strong story or a strong motive, but it was something. Whereas the dog collar match, there was nothing. But as I'm watching this match, here I go. Similar to the dog collar match, if this match was happening at a later point where they had more of a story, more of a feud, I thought this would have been awesome. Like, this would have been a great blow off. This would have been a great finish to, even if it was, even if it was a short feud, and if you had it where, and again, if Butcher and Blade were actually getting over, whether they were winning matches by cheating or if they were constantly beating down on these guys, Bunny was messing with them, and I mean, most guys, like, who can't relate to getting, like, I'm trying to say this as respectfully as possible, but kind of getting screwed over by a woman, or getting screwed over by another guy and a woman, and that guy's like, man, like, I wish that guy could just get her and get his hands on her, This would have been a great finishing match, a great blow off to some sort of story, a little bit more developed story or feud between them.
I guess what I got out of this, why it was a bunkhouse brawl, is because the king of bunkhouse brawls was Dusty Rhodes, Dustin's dad. And they did reference a few times how with the bull rope, remember that came in there, and they mentioned that Dustin has never lost a bull rope match. And so for me, I got that part of it. Okay, I kind of think, and I tried to play it as this, and this is the first part of it makes sense, but the second part doesn't. The first part, my buddy, QT's my buddy. He's my tag team partner. We hang out, we do stuff. This girl comes on, Bunny. She really likes him. Oh man, they're having a great thing. Oh, she financially screws him over in this day and age. She runs up his credit card. He's not making a lot of money. He's just a mid guy. So okay, you know what? My daddy taught me how to do this. We're gonna bunkhouse brawl these bitches. Okay, I get that. What I don't get is I don't know why AEW this is a squandered story. They should have inserted Bunny into a higher team, a team that's on the top, a team that it makes, like, somehow the Young Bucks or somehow
Right.
whatever, a top team, and then you want to get Butcher and the Blade. They're not the toughest guys right now, but they screwed around a top team. Now all of a sudden they're jumped up in the thing, and it can make them. They run with those guys, then all of a sudden Butcher and the Blade, maybe they didn't even win that, but they're devious jerks who use Bunny to do. But really, the Nightmare Collective is low rung. They're only if Cody wasn't here, where do you think the Nightmare Collective would honestly be?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Now, just real quick, am I right here? Are Bunny and Blade married?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they
Okay.
are.
Okay. So I for what it is in 2020, I get that pairing and having there.
Yeah.
But just to go back real quick, and you made a point of this because I thought about it and I didn't write it down. I forgot. But they made the point of telling us that Dustin had never lost a bunkhouse match.
Yeah.
Now, as we're talking about stories,
never lost a bull rope match.
bull rope. Okay, so it's the bull rope. Okay, because I was thinking, I thought like a bunkhouse one. Because I was just say, if he hadn't lost like that style of match, like to me again with Butcher and Blade, if they were going over, if it was kind of that way, like that would be a bigger deal. Saying, hey, Dustin always kind of won these matches, or he came out on top more than not. So just. Like I said, the match for my entertainment value, and at least for being generous, for there being at least an attempted story there.
Mm-hmm.
It was all right, but overall, it was a miss. I mean, like I said it the way you were explaining it. I mean, there's definitely squandered opportunity there for a little bit, and I'm starting to think, even with AEW Dark. Instead of just having all these matches and very few people are watching, maybe this is where you add in more of that story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You play more of the stuff between Bunny and Blade and QT. Maybe you do that on AEW Dark, and then if you reference it, or if you have that, then it's easier to kind of go to like, oh, let's go to a clip from here, because if you've only got so much TV time and you can't make it to produce it to have it on TV, have it on Dark. Bring it here, show us what's on. Okay, cool, boom. You know what I mean? Just help tell those stories, because that's what's missing. And again, maybe I'm maybe we're not the target demographic, and our attention span's a little bit could be a little bit longer. But
well, you've been in many tag team matches.
Yes.
And you've been in many blow-offs of feuds and things like that.
Yep.
Did you notice that the one thing they really did wrong here is instead of spreading out the action so that you could fix on any two guys at once, things kept concurrently happening where it was impossible to get the whole story, because you can't watch. They don't have a split screen, and they're cutting randomly back and forth. Things are happening to two guys over there that are important to the story, but you're not seeing it.
Yep.
That part, that's just poor production.
Yeah,
that's just poor production.
Even to throw a bone and give them the split screen, or that restaurant quality picture-in-picture, something that could have had us following. But you're right. I mean, for the way that things are usually laid out, if things are happening with Butcher and Dustin in one spot, then Blade and QT are down, or they're selling something else. Let stuff happen here so we can focus all our attention on there. And then these guys go down, or these guys start to make it. Then you can kind of switch over. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I think that's pretty much all I got there. Elio, you got anything else there?
No, I'm good on this one.
Okay, less than 10 words. That was good. All right. Let's see. We go to commercial. We come back. We get a recap from the Elite Deletion with Matt Hardy, to which I would like to point out, no audio issues.
and you know what, guys, I do want to say this. Okay, I have not, because I was out of town. I was up in the mountains. I did not get a chance to see any of Full Gear, so I kind of appreciated some of these clips. And when you get to them, I just want to say real quick what I thought of.
Please, go ahead.
Part. I mean, I don't get to see a lot, but the deletion stuff, I'm sorry, that's not my thing. As soon as I saw that, I fast forwarded. I'm not really into these cinematic matches. That's not my thing.
Okay. No, fair enough. And I think that's kind of, we had a bit of a mixed thing there. I didn't mind it. And, like a lot of matches, there's some highs, there's some lows. But it was what it was. But again, my biggest thing out of that, no audio issues. So, it shows that it can be done.
Yes.
And
It's
not just for
they're-
Cody
they're not
Rhodes.
smart enough to do it when it's happening.
Yeah, All right, we go from elite deletion to the induction ceremony. MJF going into the inner circle. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go Elio first, just because I heard that groan. What do you got, Elio? What did you see at the induction of MJF into the inner circle?
I don't know where to begin with this.
Throw something out and go.
This just like the town hall meeting and all the other stuff they had the week before didn't really work for me. And as MJF was doing his poem there and said Ortiz is trying to is like, yo, that's a Drake song. And
Yeah.
MJF's like, who's Drake? I've never heard of him. Then you see Warlow off to the side when MJF was taking all the credit for
Yes.
everything.
Good. Yeah.
And Wardlow was like, what?
Yep.
He had that look like, what are you talking about?
I noticed that too. Fair enough. So overall, then, did you like it, or it was kind of hit and miss for you?
I'm in the middle with this one.
Yeah.
And with all the balloons and the happy birthday stuff.
All right. Mr. T. James, sir, what did you?
Well, it's I'm having a hard time with this in the sense of either Jericho is a brilliant ring general who can see the con coming, or he's just incredibly stupid and he has two of his most deadly dudes and he's not listening to them.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got a guy like Ortiz who's he's a heavy on your team, saying to you, I don't like this. This is crap. You got to see through this. You should take it a lot more seriously. When you say, hey, we are the number one guys, the inner circle is the hottest thing, then why do you need more? If you are already the best, toughest, best unit in the world, why do you need more? I mean, it's uncomfortably done right now. I think for me, it would be so much more effective for when the actual turn comes, if everybody was like, yeah, okay, let's take them in, you know? But to have 2 or 3 guys just vehemently not wanting part of this in your group, splinters your group. That doesn't make your group stronger if I bring in 2 guys who 2 of my dudes hate their guts. Yeah. For me, that makes that a little confusing.
No, that makes sense. The more we watch this, let's see, how do I say this? Do you still see the swerve happening with Jericho getting ousted, or do you see?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
100%. I mean, and I think that's maybe why he's playing like he's so dumb right now.
I think they're gonna
get so trusting that, you know.
They're gonna build it up to like January or February Revolution. Something's gonna go down.
But then the whole thing with Sammy Guevara, which we'll probably get into later too, is just a weirder off splinter, which makes it even more confusing. So
yeah, I think to me it's they're almost making it too confusing, too convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if they're trying to do that to like, oh, are they going to turn? Are they going to do this? And you know, we've talked about this on past episodes about, you know, investing the time in the storylines and stretching them out. Mm-hmm. And the way that they're doing this, like to me, like the way you describe Jericho kind of in that role, it's not. I don't feel like seeing him like this. You know, if they turn on him, it's almost like, yeah, it's like he deserved it.
Yeah,
like, there's no sympathy. Yeah, the sympathy's not there. Yeah, the sympathy's not there, and it just, yeah, we all saw it coming, and he's
Well, if the key is to make it sympathetic, and they're making it so obvious, when it happens, then it's like, oh, you're dumb, Jericho. How could you have not seen that? There's no sympathy there. We're just like, what a knothead. You got what you got, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Also on Jericho, and I'll, you know, I often preface this because I mean we've talked about Jericho's weight, and it's funny because I mean I saw on his Instagram he posted a picture with the abs, and I'm like, oh, like
I'm 50. Check me out.
And I mean, there's the abs are there, but it's like just
abs on the dad bod.
Yeah, but the other thing, and this stuck out to me today, and I've seen it before because I've talked. You guys know I talk about like he looks like if he's bloated or whatever.
Yeah.
But Is there something happening with his eyebrows?
Yes.
Have you
Yes,
like
there's
like
something weird with his face
like
going
the
on there.
evil point? Like I don't know if he's got like Botox or there's something going on.
Could you've gotten Botox?
I
That
don't
would
know,
make
but
so much sense.
but like
That would
his eye, like
account for the
yeah,
thing.
because I mean he like they seem kind of normal. And
Mhm.
I'm sorry if you're listening and you can't see what my fingers are doing here because I'm kind of doing like the straight across. And then when he
Yeah.
starts to talk, they go up like this, and he's like,
Yeah,
he starts
it's all-
talking like
It's like a
this.
Klingon. Yep.
Yeah,
Holy jeez, I gotta
And it
have
could
to-
explain why he had that goofy drunky look also a
maybe
couple weeks ago. Wow. Good catch. I would never even thought of that, dude.
that
That's
makes
possible.
me like I don't know, age gracefully, Chris Jericho. I love Chris Jericho. I mean, every time I talk about this, I'm not saying this to rag on him. I
Mhm.
say it because I care.
Because we don't
So-
want everyone laughing behind your back.
No,
Jericho.
no. So yeah, the eyebrows. Sammy was missing, but of course we find out that pops up. Let's see. We had the dissension between the inner circle and Jericho, which you kind of touched on there.
Mhm.
The surprise birthday party for Jericho. They're all going to Vegas. It's on me.
First class.
Yeah. As Elio pointed out, I made a point of this too. Wardlow through this whole thing, you watch his facial expressions. There's a lot of like, WTF, and he's
Yeah.
not buying in.
He's
so,
turning on MJF before
You know,
this happens, I think.
or if there's like some double turn going
Yeah.
on where they're going to turn on, like I think we touched on that before, possibly
Yeah.
Jericho and Wardlow,
Yeah.
kind of get booted out or something like that. But yeah, and I hope that's the case because in that sense, like Wardlow's doing well.
Mhm.
We talk about character, we talk about presence, we talk about emotional connection, and that's something where, actually, I'll say this: I would venture to say that kind of those kind of subtle things and that happening with Wardlow would make me more sympathetic towards him than towards Jericho.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because you said Jericho's almost over the top and he doesn't see it coming and
Yeah.
hey, we're doing this. Whereas Wardlow's just sitting in the background and it's just every week it's like,
Can you
what
believe
the
this
hell?
shit?
What the yeah, can you believe this? Can you believe what's going Yeah, so it's to me there's almost if you kind of focus that attention on Wardlow,
Mhm.
I could see more babyface sympathy towards him than Jericho.
I'm going to agree with that because Jericho's making himself look like an idiot. Unless he pulls some swerve that just gets us all like, oh,
Oh yeah,
let's hope.
Yeah, we'll see. My faith, unfortunately, these days is not too high. So
Don't blame you.
yeah. But anything else for that segment we want to add?
Mm,
No, we're good there.
we're good.
All right. So we go to commercial. We come back. Young Bucks promo. Hey, 2 in a row. No audio issues.
Yeah.
There's a positive. Okay, take it away.
Alex Marvez is the dumbest person in the world. He really is.
Him or Chris Jericho?
No, he's worse than Chris Jericho.
Okay.
Because it's like, okay, the guy brutally kicked me in the face, but I'm going to go knock over. Hey, did I get you there? Yeah, yes. Oh, you're forgiven. That's what it came down to at the end. It was like beating a priest. He actually had no choice but to forgive you in the end. Like, during the whole thing, he's acting like, the abused woman in a terrible movie. And they're just like kind of petting. It's okay, Alex. It's okay. Acting like nothing ever happened. But every now and then, the abuser has to throw in did I get you with the,
Yeah.
Yeah. I know they're trying to make the Young Bucks seem like they're better guys now or something, but this doesn't. It just makes them seem like creepier abusers. And I'm sorry, Alex Marvez, you're right on the level of Tony Giovanni, who one week forgave them because, I've known them a long time, I forgive them. Then the next week he was hot as hell when he saw them. So I don't know. Write something that makes sense, but don't send Alex Marvez then. Don't send Tony Giovanni. Go send the girl. They should have sent Dasha. They're not gonna kick Dasha in the
there you
face.
go. Yeah.
Yeesh.
That's
yeah,
Maybe
Alex-
they would have. Who knows? Because
I
maybe
don't
they
know
got
what
the
this-
deals this week.
Oh,
I don't know
sorry.
where this. I don't know where this fell, but Dasha went to interview Kenny Omega again.
Oh, that comes
audio
later.
should-
That comes later. That comes
Yeah.
later.
No,
Did
they
they
mentioned about the
parts-
audio.
Did they also show the part already where they cut to her and she? No, that's later. Okay,
No,
sorry.
that's later. Yeah.
that's later.
I want to throw one thing in here. Okay.
Okay.
I don't usually watch this. Okay, but I checked out a bit of Being Elite this week. Okay,
Okay.
and they were showing the Young Bucks before heading in to getting ready for their match, right? And
for
I
Full
thought
Gear,
you
mean?
guys, for Full Gear, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And I thought you guys would love this because it was all being elite's a lot of jokes and a lot of funny,
Yep.
things. So they did a thing where they were talking and Matt saying, well, my knee, my ankle, and blah 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 blah. And his brother's hot, which they never showed us. They should have kind of showed us this, but Nick is pissed. He's like, how could you put this up? If we lose this match, we're screwed. We don't get another title shot, right?
Yeah.
And then and Matt goes, well, I have another idea, a plan B if things fall through. And he starts holding up his idea, a mock-up of the TNT tag team belts.
Oh no!
Which we had joked about. It was a total joke. Like they weren't real belts. It was like, well, we could do what Cody
Don't
did.
say that
and
too
just
loud. They might end up being real belts.
Oh man!
And then we can bring Devon's kids in.
TNT.
And the last thing I'm going to say is this was kind of funny. Is just a quick because it was on the same episode. They had John Cutler win his first match. Okay, he's won his first match ever in AEW. So he's backstage and he's looking for the pay window, right? And Frankie comes there and comes up to goes, "You fucking idiot! There is no pay window. It's a saying. You fucking goof." So that was pretty fun. Those are the two. That was funny. So I just had to throw those out there. So sorry.
For those of you not familiar, the pay window is a Dustyism. Or especially back in the days when he would do commentary, and it's like so-and-so is trying to win the match, Rey Mysterio is trying to win the match, and he's going to go to the pay window collect when he's finished, baby.
Yeah, because it was always the idea. It was Dusty was trying to put over if you actually won the match, you won more money.
You won more money.
It is were contracts. You still won more money if you won. So, okay, the pay window. Sorry.
Good. No, that's good. I appreciate that. Another little Dustyism in there.
Alex Marvez, though, is stupid. What a horrible commentator. No personality. Oh, my God. I'm so glad he's not commentating anymore. He was commentating the first little while. In that monotone. Yeah, the first episode or two was. Oh. Okay, sorry.
Well, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
No, it's just like, seriously, like, what a bland dude. Like, did anything he did today?
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Okay, from bland to picking things up a little bit here. We come back. We got Sean Spears versus Scorpio Sky. Sean Spears coming in with Tully. One thing I made a note kind of late on. I'm going to kind of bring on here early before you guys talk about the match. I like seeing Tully, and this is almost like a Jimmy Hart type of thing, but I like seeing Tully that when he comes out with Sean Spears, he's dressed nicer. When he comes out with FTR, he's kind of more like in the warm-up gear, like kind of the matching kind of tracksuit or whatever. The little things, I like that. Elio, I mean, this was a pretty decent match. What did you see here?
I thought this was a good match. I like how Tully's still using the gloves, so continuity there. Still using Tully's glove.
Yep.
So I thought this was a pretty good match. I got nothing else.
Okay.
Yep.
That was about 29 words. That was pretty good. Short and sweet, but hey.
You can't count those 6 M's.
Well,
23 words.
All right.
What is going on?
Okay. What did we see here? Did we see a good match? Did we see a nice performance by Sean Spears, by Scorpio Sky, by both? What do we got?
I think it was a very good match. I think Scorpio is so damn smooth. Okay.
Yeah.
I also appreciate because I used to love this. This is old Samoa Joe stuff. Is shrugging off moves. When Spears jumped on the top rope and he just sort of hopped off and then pulled him down. I love that kind of stuff because sometimes it brings a realism in it. Who in the world would stand there and wait for that stuff? You push a guy off and pull him. Loved it. Love that. But I also love the ending. Love the ending. So old school. Not only load up the glove, but Tully throw a foreign object into the ring so that he actually turns his back from Spears to huck it in the audience so that when he does turn around, he gets actually cold cocked. Because you don't do that part, then why did he fall for the cold cocking? He should have been able to dodge the fist or whatever. So for me, 100% old school ending, but a really great match. Thought both guys looked really good here.
Yeah.
I think these guys should be bumped up to Dynamite. I'm rather enjoying them way more than the Dark Order or the Nightmare Collective or any of the other crap we're getting at right now.
I agree.
These guys did great.
Cool. I think we're all in agreement here. I thought Sean Spears looked really good physically. I thought he looked leaner. I like seeing like the tights and kind of away from from the trunks going away from the tights.
Mhm.
I thought he looked good. Um, Something to what you just said here about seeing them more on Dynamite. JR and Tony both during the match said that these guys are being underutilized and they
Mhm.
should be on Dynamite more often. I totally agree with that. Uh, and the same thing, throwing in the foreign object to Scorpio Sky as well. The only other thing there would be just kind of the more typical of, if he went for the distraction or if he, jumped up on the apron or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, just something that we don't normally see. And it told a nice little story just in that, like you said, from picking it up, saying, what the heck, throwing it out, turning around, getting popped. I same thing. I loved it. So it was, that's probably one of you know what? I'd say maybe it was the second best match on the show for me today.
Very close. Very close.
Yeah.
There is only one bad thing I want to point out.
Okay.
And maybe you can convince me wrong about this. Maybe I'm
Okay.
seeing it wrong in my mind. Did you notice when Spears picked up the foreign object where he put it in his glove?
Yeah.
He slipped it inside his hand.
Yeah.
But then kind of hit him kind of a punch thing with his not quite closed fist. So in my hand, I'm thinking, wouldn't it have been more effective if he just loaded the front of it and gave him a shot like that or whatever? For me, it just seemed a little bit pussyfooting around putting it into your hand like that. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Am I wrong? I could be wrong. Maybe does it make the hand heavier? Is that what they're shooting for?
No, and you know what? Because I saw that and I rewound it too because I was thinking I was going to be able to call it because he did slip it inside his hand.
Yep.
And then I went to go look afterwards to see like, okay, well, when he finished him off, did he come across with the closed fist punch?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You may be right, but I'm gonna give credit where the consistency was there, that he slid it on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I mean, if you think about it, a closed fist punch is illegal, but an open palm strike is legal.
Right.
So the fact he still came across, and if you it was still there.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was trying to wonder myself.
so
Okay.
maybe maybe the punch would have been fine, but either way, he had the foreign object.
Yeah.
It was consistent there. He put it on the inside. It's not like he went and closed fist. It's like, well, how does that make sense? Nope.
Well,
It was that open-handed shot.
okay. And I guess for me, I was thinking of the old like Larry Zbyszko days,
Yeah.
you put the roll of coins in and use the fist, but then he put it in, but then he didn't actually hit him with the fist. It was kind of a
It was an open hand palm strike to the forehead.
I guess
if
what
you
confused me is he had his fingers curled a bit, but yeah, he did.
Yeah, if you go back and watch, there's enough because I rewound because that was something I was looking to pick on.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I was like, nope, it was good. It was in like you said, he slid it inside the palm of the glove, and when he comes across, it's I'd say there's even less of that. It was almost like a complete open hand palm strike.
Okay.
Forehead.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, because I
didn't want to cheapen this match. I really did enjoy this match a lot, including the ending.
Yeah, no. It was good, and even to that, I don't know. Again, because I don't watch Dark, I don't know if he's cheated on other matches, but I think 9.5 times out of 10, if someone loads the glove, it goes on that outside, just like you're describing for the fist. It's that close fist punch. Whereas here, just the fact it was like an open palm, it was just bam. I liked it. I was cool with it. So
okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, we go from our great match here to another what was a non-existent promo that for some reason then turned into a promo that had no audio issues, so they went 3 for 3. I kind of felt bad. What's her name? Daisy? Dasha?
Yeah.
Well, there was audio issue, like at just like a touch, and then right away it was fixed.
Okay. But to me, it was. I didn't like the fact that it was like, okay, let's go to a promo. He's gone. Oh, but then Alex Marvez,
why bother going?
he catches up with him like 5 seconds later. Like, oh, good thing he was by the parking lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Did I see that wrong? I don't know. Like,
no, as soon as that happened, I said to my wife, "What was the point of cutting to the if she wasn't like in real news? If they're gonna go, okay, Andy, get ready. Oh, Andy doesn't have the thing. Don't bother cutting.
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah. So that just seemed incredibly stupid that they cut to an empty chair as well. He ran away.
Yeah.
And then as I was laughing, then all of a sudden Marvez is running across the parking lot, like the boring, most blandest idiot. All of a sudden, figured out to hide out by the exit. Like, yeah.
Well, I guess it was lucky he just happened to be walking by or something.
Oh,
The
he was
cameraman.
lucky to be walking by with a cameraman. Yeah, the whole production crew and a boom mic.
And, you know, because I mean, there wasn't even really any in between. It was just,
Nope.
I don't got him. Oh no, Alex has got him. Oh, well,
Right.
sorry, sister, you're pretty crappy then. I don't know why we have you because you
No
can't
pay
hold on
window
to
for
some-
Dasha.
Yeah, no pay. So
That
okay.
being said,
yes. Talk
I
about
really-
the promo itself or the conversation.
I really enjoyed. I thought Kenny Omega came across looking finally like he's out of a coma.
Yeah.
Which he seemed like he was in for the last 6 months.
Yep.
And looking like the guy who's really ready to kick some ass and
Yes,
be a dangerous threat.
I
You know,
agree.
he had the ramped up thing. I came off as probably the best Kenny Omega thing I've seen in quite a while.
In a while. Yeah. Elio is.
Yep,
same thing
this
for you?
one, I really like this promo. Kenny saying he's always been here, but just now he's ready to take back the #1 spot. And all this time it was all Moxley taking like his spot, so now he's ready
Yeah.
to take it back.
Yeah, no, I agree that's one of sometimes the internet acknowledgments or kind of the fan acknowledgments to me can be kind of hit or miss. This was a good one because it was a legit, like, and we've talked about it before on shows. It's like, where's Kenny Omega? What's happening with Kenny Omega? Okay, well, is this where he's given the first year to kind of develop? Now it's kind of like, okay, what about Kenny? I'm ready to kind of step back and take what's mine, kind of thing. So I agree with you guys on that. I like that point. The other thing, and we touched on this very briefly earlier in the show, I think Elio, you mentioned it, was the fact, and I made a note because I was going to call him on this, because I'd forgotten about their match from last year, but it was like a non-sanctioned match or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Match.
So
Yeah.
so they I think JR or Tony, they talked about, oh yeah, well they fought once before last year, and then Kenny's like, oh yeah, well we've never fought before, and I was like, wait, what the hell? Like, I mean, I complained about consistency, but then he explained.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
But then-
explained it wasn't a regular wrestling match with rules.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Which, again, little things, but just I loved it. Like I love that attention to detail, and that way he's able to say, look, like, we've never fought we've never fought one-on-one in a match, like in a regular match for a title or anything like that. So, how are you going to be in this environment? So I thought that was great, and kind of like you said, this is probably one of the best pieces of business promo wise that we've seen from Kenny Omega in AEW.
And thank God he wasn't wearing goofy ass clothing for a change.
But he wasn't wearing his shorts.
Yeah, or anything goofy ass. He has these horrible shirts he wears sometimes lately.
Yeah.
This time he was just dressed like a normal wrestler, and I was like, okay, thank God.
Well, because he was late for a flight, so of course, where was he going?
Yeah, the flight to catch.
Yeah, he had a flight to catch. Where was
Was
he
he
going?
his girlfriend? No.
I don't know. Speaking of girlfriends, girls, females, good segue. Let us get to our, I guess, I won't say semi-main event, but our second last match of the Was that our second?
It's the second last, yeah.
The second
Second last. Yeah, there we go. Tay Conte versus Red Velvet. Mr. Logan, sir, you are yes, we love to talk about the ladies of AEW. What
Okay. Things. First of all, did you notice when they came walking out, Red Velvet's mixing the pot, and she looks over at Brandy, and Brandy is just like, this is fucking dumb. Mixing the pot. Like she looked like she hated doing it. Like, oh God, do I really got to be mixing them? Okay. Right away, I was like, okay, is there some kind of story going here? Or is Brandy just like really come up with something better? This is what annoys me is there are some good women's wrestlers. I shouldn't have to be seeing girls like Red Velvet should be on AEW till she gets a little more comfortable and gets her timing up.
you should be on Dark?
Dark. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
She should be on Dark, okay? Because there is the two of them together was you need, if you're gonna have one of these girls, you need someone to guide them through this match.
Yeah.
There was a lot of horrible stuff happening in this match, which was so poorly put together. How about every time Velvet throws somebody in the ring, she bends over like a stripper. Did you notice this? Has her legs spread and does a shimmy up like she's trying to show off her butt. I was like, is she a stripper? That's the first thought that came to my mind. Like, why is she doing this in a rest? This is nothing athletic about that. That you guys go back and look at that. That looks like the kind of stuff you see at a strip show. I'm gonna say this.
I don't know. I've never been to a strip show, so I couldn't tell you.
You took me there on my birthday, Bubba. Anyhow. I don't want to. I gotta say this, man. The WWE missed the boat on Taya Conte.
Yeah.
They always get pretty girls and max them out to the gorgeousness. They had her always looking just like this average lumpy girl out there. She came out today. Her and that Anna Jay were smoking hot.
Yeah, they both look good. Yeah.
Like very good. And she looks like somebody that, she has some skill. And she could be just like Peyton or those girls who can be an annoying heel or a spunky up-and-comer. She may not have the skill to be up there with the big girls, but she could be in the mid-card, but not against Red Velvet. There was stuff they were doing in this match where you just had to groan. I don't know if you caught it, but like Red Velvet came off with a knee that the way they made it look, if she had sold it, you would have thought she would have killed Taya Conti. Because it made it look like she hit Conti. Conti was too slow getting back up to move it. So it did the soft graze.
Yes.
But she acted like nothing happened. Like she got her head back in time.
Yes,
and I was like, oh my God, that is painful. Then she did this sloppy little kind of cartwheel before her kick thing. The kick at least made it better, but her little roll thing looked like I could do that and I could barely move. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really think that it was a bad idea putting these two together. I think they could have had either one of these versus somebody like Sheeta, somebody like Serena Deeb, somebody like Thunder Rosa, a girl who could carry them a little better and cover up the mistakes. Instead, they were just exposing things. Like, I'm sorry, but that Taya Conti, it looked like she took a hit to the head, but then jerk her head back, really exposed.
Was that kick when she was on her knees? And
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then Taya Conti went like her head back, but she had already taken the soft graze.
And I think even the commentators, I think they were confused too. Even.
Yeah, because they're like, she must have she dodged that move.
Yeah, they tried to cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that exposes stuff. You know that because you work to make those moves look like devastating. And then to hit a devastating and then no sell it like bad. Love Taya Conti's look. Want to see a lot more of her. Anna Jay, I always thought was pretty, but wow. And I gotta admit, when she first came out, I was like, is that Tennille Dashwood? Like they have this when she was doing her leather, you know what I mean? Like she looked very overly modeled. Like not like wrestlers. They didn't look like wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I give Taya Conti this. Very attractive. WWE missed the boat. Does have a lot of work. Red Velvet too, but man, work on your posing, girl, because you're kind of looking like a stripper in there, and that's not exactly going to get you very far in the world of professional wrestling.
Fair enough.
No, Red Velvet belongs on AEW Dark this match. Yeah, there was a lot of things like TJ said that just didn't work. I don't know if
Tony would be having a shit fit if he saw the sloppiness.
I don't know if it was the Irish whips as well.
Say again.
The Irish whip.
The Irish whips.
Corners.
Yeah. There's some of them where it's like they barely even touch.
Yeah, it was like it was pretty. Some of them were pretty sloppy looking. Yeah. I did like how Energy threw the chair into the ring, and Taya Conti was like, no. She thought about it, then she threw it back out.
Yeah. Yeah. A little extra story in there, so that was good. And then even after the match, they were kind of buddy, weren't they? Yeah,
but she also had that look like, sorry, I did my own. Yeah. Like
that. I'm not gonna add too much to it. I wrote down decent openings, so I think maybe things kind of started off okay, and then maybe kind of tapered. Yep, they have a good strong opening there. The girls, I can tell there's potential there with both. They need they need their work.
Did you catch? Okay, Andy, you don't watch you don't watch New Japan enough, but they kind of did a ripoff of the Okada thing, which kind of pissed me off because that's something maybe a big dude should be doing, not two little women. And that's where Okada does the thing where he gets somebody into the corner and does the thing to make you flinch. and
Right.
then just taps you and walks back. And they did it to each other. They pulled the Okada thing. And I was just like, really? You're lower girls and you're trying to do the thing
Yeah.
that the number one wrestler in the world's doing. Okay.
No, I didn't kind of catch that per se, but yeah. I you know what, stuff like that done right, like so many things in the right context, in the right way, that can work.
Oh yeah, but I don't think they were the right context for that.
Yeah. Oh, and that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So the other thing I kind of made a point in here,
Mhm.
and I know this was several times throughout the show, something that we touch on every once in a while.
Mhm.
I don't know that I'm a fan of picture in picture.
Oh no.
Wait.
I would rather miss shit and have
Yeah.
you come back and go, this happened.
I really hate when they do that. It's like during the match, mid-match picture. We're gonna go into picture.
Yeah.
And then that one time when JR said, "We're gonna go into restaurant quality picture."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I've tried. I've tried to watch it, Andy. It's impossible. I mean, I have a big TV and I'm just like, huh? I can't do it.
And you get too distracted from the sound and everything from the commercial. And I think why I had it here was because we had that decent opening.
Mhm.
And then they went to, it was almost like then a good chunk of the match was in the picture in picture.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's kind of hard to follow. And then you kind of come back and it's kind of like, the more, and I don't know, is NXT doing that, or because I know they made it.
NXT does that.
And they were saying, we find other shows are,
Mhm.
doing it or something. And they took their little shot, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But I think at the end of the day, to me, it's, kind of like we talk about the old Stampede Wrestling, join a match in progress.
Just
Mhm.
because other shows do it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah. Or, it's, I just assume they're going to go to commercial break, slap a hold, whatever. Okay.
Mhm.
We're back from commercial break. Okay. Let's pick up and go. Cause
Yeah.
to me, I don't think it really adds
No.
to the overall
I
quality
agree.
or enjoyment of the show. Okay. We had our ladies match. We have the Inner Circle promo where they're celebrating. They're going to Vegas. It's all on MJF. Sammy comes late. There's email issues.
Just like TJ.
Just like TJ. You're familiar with email issues. So how did you feel about this segment? What did you see there?
Like I said, it makes a lot of sense, and I kind of had that idea that's what was going to happen. That MJF is trying to make Sammy look bad to the rest of the things, because that seems to have been his ongoing thing.
Yeah,
give him the oversized jacket, calling him little things. And fans, that's exactly why I came on with the whole. You guys give me the thing. Is I thought it would be a funny joke because they had no idea I was going to be on the show. So just to tie it in, mix that in together. But it was okay for what it was. I think this would be a tremendously better story if there wasn't the other story going on at the same time. But it's just too much convolution going on right now. And it would be much more effective if he was just trying to get Sammy out first before he does the crap he's doing.
But then we also talk about this on Aftermath, how after that deletion match, Sammy should stay off of TV after he got destroyed.
I think that was Tony saying, is like, he says if Sammy's going to come on, at least he had the big bandage on his forehead.
And Jericho said something about when he didn't show up at the first time, I went to see him at the hospital and told him something.
Yeah. He did bring up the hospital. So
still.
Yeah. No. Overall, Tony's right. That kind of beating or whatever, you shouldn't be. But
thank God he didn't wrestle. Right?
Yeah. But I'm gonna get to that once we kind of get to our last match. But Elio, is there anything else you want to add for that segment?
No, that was just the whole Sammy thing. I wanted to bring that up. How it was interesting how he showed up, and even though we talked about it on Sunday on the Aftermath.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I got nothing else to add on to there. Before we get to our main event, our final match of the evening, we get the little flashback to Full Gear, the Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian promo. I've got my stuff. Elio, go ahead, because we kind of talked about this kind of stuff. Have at it first.
Was this that with the Miro and all that?
Yes.
Yeah, this still I got nothing, man. With this whole video game storyline, it's ridiculous. All over a video game.
Yep.
So now that leads to a match next week: Orange Cassidy and Kip Sabian.
Yes. Yes.
That's all.
Pass. I pass.
You pass? Okay. Okay. My issue with this, and if you were with us on Aftermath, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I've touched on stuff before. I will preface this by saying I'm a big Miro fan. I loved Rusev Day. I loved everything.
Yep.
Everything that he did, that he was saddled with in WWE. I wanted him to come here, make a big splash, make a big impact. I think we all agree that we were tremendously let down with this whole best man thing.
Mhm.
And further to that, you have this big pay-per-view. This was his first pay-per-view that he would have been on. And instead of being a monster, instead of challenging for the TNT title, what does he get? He gets about 30 seconds of being the third or fourth best man in that promo, in the background, talking about video games. And I think I even said to Elliot, I'm like, this is his pay-per-view appearance, is appearing in this promo that ends up setting up for a match that's going to happen in a week or 2 weeks. Now tonight we have the first show after the pay-per-view, and he gets not even a live spot on the show. He gets the recap over video games. How disappointing is that for someone that could be booked as a monster, could be booked as a beast, could be booked as so many things, and this is what he's relegated to? Am I wrong in that? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, if he's happy, he's getting paid. If he's got whatever creative control he has, but this has got to be, and I think this is almost a thing now. I don't know if this is a separate chapter in the book, but just misuse of talent. Like, you talk about WWE signing guys and not using them properly, or just signing them just to have them. That's almost how I feel Miro is right now. Just a number. Just to have him. And
well, you know what? I just want to throw something really quick out there. Why this doesn't surprise me? Why I'm not like? Why am I not going like? Why do I not freak out and think, why is Miro not freaking out? Right?
Yeah.
But I want to cut back. Do you guys remember when Miro first came out at NXT? Like his initial first run, when he first came to NXT, he would come out with these stupid. It looked like a picket sign, like a stick off a picket fence, and it would say like Anderson. And he'd walk out, and if he was facing you that night, he'd come out with no shoes on, which always creeps me out.
I remember the no shoes. Yeah.
And then he'd break it on his head or his knee, and go Machka Crash, and he'd do and it would just be like, it was so cartoony, stupid that I was like, wow, this big guy is nothing. I don't see anything.
Right.
And then it changed, and they made him up. So this doesn't surprise me. He's been handed chicken shit before.
Yeah.
I don't know if I doubt he'll make a chicken sandwich out of this one, but it's not like the first time he's done this kind of stuff. So.
Okay, but I mean, from everything that I think we can agree that we generally know, something like that coming from NXT, that would not be coming from him, though. That would more or less likely be coming from the writers.
That's the directive, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you're right. I guess they have probably more input here. But
right, which is why I'm saying is, to me, even more disappointing, where you say, oh, I'm going to show Vince McMahon and I'm going to show everybody, and now what?
my real hope here, Andy, is that Miro is slightly injured and is nursing an injury and keeping himself into shape till he can actually perform better.
Okay.
I mean, that first match he had, it looked like he almost hurt himself. Remember that?
Yeah. You're right.
And it seemed like a weird hesitation. So in my mind, I was like, is he kind of just nursing an injury and they're just using him till he's ready to say, okay, guys, now I can go full. I hope that's what it is.
Yes. I hope you're right. But I think overall that still is an excuse.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
The whole video game thing, best man thing.
But what occurred to me, though? This did occur to me. He has managed now to, no matter what the blow off is with Kip Sabian, he can now call himself, and it doesn't have to mean a marriage thing. He can call himself Miro, the best man, as in the best man around or the best man there is. He's managed to subtly slip in an over-the-top thing where he could probably carry that on for a whole different meaning later if he turns into a good guy or an obnoxious bad guy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That I'll give him some credit for, but yeah, the wedding's crap is crap.
Yep. Fair enough. We're all in agreement. All right. As we can, I guess I can say this is kind of like a half promo, half introduction to our main event. Eddie Kingston comes out. I'm sorry, I have an issue with Eddie Kingston coming out.
Yes, please. I think I know what you're going to say. Say it. Say it.
For someone that was just in a match where anything goes, they were using all kinds of weapon and plunder. There was multiple usage of barbed wire to the head, to the neck, all over. He was looking pretty smooth and fresh-faced.
Mm-hmm.
We talked, several minutes ago about Sammy Guevara. At least he came out with a bandage.
Mm-hmm.
Again, suspension of disbelief, whatever. The Aftermath show, Elio, I think we kind of touched on the barbed wire, that one particular strand of barbed wire that didn't seem to be as sharp as the rest.
Yep, that was making the holes and it didn't make holes. Yep.
And TJ, you didn't see the show, but I mean they had the barbed wire on, a barbed wire baseball bat, and then it was getting used. It was getting shots to the stomach, shots to the chest, shots to the back. Very little, if any, kind of puncture wounds, any like rips in the shirt, like Eddie Kingston's
So the rubber
shirt.
gimmick.
Pretty much, and they did it several times where they would wrap it around the hand to go to punch, and there was like nothing. And then in the finish, Moxley put it around his hand, put it around his forearm, and then got the choke in.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that's when he had to quit. So even then, when he's pulling it off of his arm, you can see where the I can't remember what the right word would be for it, but you can see where it was. Like if you have like an elastic band.
Yeah, like the marks.
The marks, and you take it off and you can kind of see where the elastic band was. That's kind of how that was. Like there was no punctures, there was no nothing. And hey, I'm all, you try to make things work. You're protecting guys, you're doing whatever. To WWE's credit, 9 times out of 10, whenever we would see something with barbed wire, even if some of it was gimmicked, you would see enough that guys would get puncture wounds. You would see that the shirts would get ripped. You would see that Mick Foley was getting popped, whatever. It's just one of those small things, whereas like, you're going to try to do the blood and guts. You're going to try and do this, but to kind of have the gimmick barbed wire, then like that, to have him come out, we can talk about Sammy Guevara. Maybe he should have been on the show because he should still be in the hospital. But Eddie Kingston coming out fresh faced like this, to me, does a disservice to that whole match, to that whole story, to that whole angle.
Okay, that is very true.
Yeah, so I mean, it's Elio. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, when he came out, he looked like nothing happened to him.
Yeah.
Now I thought
if he wasn't even in a match at all.
Yeah.
He just came out with his face, with that look he always has, and he's looking around and saying, "You're welcome."
No, I thought it. Go ahead, Elliot.
No, I was done.
I was going to say, Andy, because I haven't seen the match.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go even further with something else here. And this is what bothers me, is I understand that Eddie Kingston has lost an I Quit match after all the bullshit he said he was never going to quit and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right? So he sits down and he's talking with these guys and he's being just as big as a prick. There's no sympathy he's garnering for anything.
Yeah.
Yet he clearly admits that John Moxley was the better man this day. But then he turns around and is manipulating the two brothers.
Yes.
And all I can say is that is some inconsistent thing. I would rather him deny. I never really said that. Hey, Donald Trump it, man. Just sit there and deny everything. Fake news. I never said that. That's bullshit. Who said? Who heard that?
We got it on tape. No, that's somebody dubbed that.
Right.
I don't get this. He's always referring to Penta as his best friend, and Phoenix is just Phoenix.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that right away here. But no, you're right about that too. I think I don't want to say I'd let it slide.
You're overwhelmed by the blood thing. I never got to see it, so I would
the
get
visual
that.
aspect of coming out of a bloody war, and you're unscathed.
And wouldn't he look even tougher? Had he come out all a little bit bandaged up, like I'm here, like that was a thing. Yeah. I never gave up. Screw that.
I think he had a bandage like kind of like under his neck or something, even on his forehead. But what do I know? All right, so that leads us into our main event match. Phoenix versus Penta. I've got thoughts on this, but I'll let you guys hit the floor first here. TJ, what did you get out of this match? What did you like? What did you dislike?
I liked it. I thought it told a really interesting story near the end when the brothers really, like when the first rip of the mask, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's shit that you never see. You never see Phoenix or especially Penta get their masks ripped. That's a
Yeah.
rarity. And these guys were hard going at it, right? And then just to have that real definitive package pile driver on the apron,
Yeah.
Canadian destroyer on the floor,
Or
finish it.
Mexican destroyer in this case.
yeah. The NAFTA. We'll call it the NAFTA destroyer.
Destroyer.
The North American Free Trade
Yes.
Act destroyer.
Yes.
And then finishes him and like no messing around. He went to all three of those moves. Boom, boom. Took his brother in the ring. Boom. I
Yeah.
thought that told this great story of like these two guys just escalating their brothers, and like I started to try to buy into it. I was just like, yes, oh man, what does he do? Like,
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. I even enjoyed Eddie Kingston coming in and kind of talking to Penta and then just kicking Ray
Literally
out like he was a piece
kicking
of
him off to
garbage.
the
He
side.
did. He just kicked him right off the
Yeah.
thing. So I really did enjoy that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Thought the pack thing was not enough. It was just a little weak
Yeah.
because there's actually no reason, there's no story here of why Pac is mad at Eddie Kingston, why Eddie Kingston was willing to stand there and go at it. Like,
Weren't they part of a group or something before?
The Death
No.
Triangle.
yeah,
Death
but
Triangle,
but Eddie Kingston wasn't around, and so what?
Yeah.
He's just mad that these guys went and joined him. Like that there was no
Ah,
real
yeah, okay.
explanation there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like Pac was gone, and then Kingston came in.
Gotcha. Okay.
After. Now, had there been some kind of thing where Kingston was sniffing around or MJF in it or whatever, that would have made more sense to me. But I felt, and then to not really have them even get an errant punch in or one
Yeah.
real shove was ridiculous. You can go out and guys can beat the living crap and almost murder each other, but one guy walks out with his music and then 15 referees appear. Did they even have that many referees? All of a sudden there's a zillion guys with striped shirts, and I've only ever seen
You get a
two.
referee shirt. You get a referee shirt. You get a referee shirt.
I'm pretty sure they were all Dark Order members without masks on there as referee shirts.
Probably.
But yeah, like I said, it makes it hard. Now I'm very confused. It's once again, you're confused. Is Pac's never been a good guy? He still calls himself the bastard.
Yeah.
Yet he's coming out to challenge Eddie Kingston, who you would have thought got some sympathy because he quit, acknowledged the quit, but then turned into a freaking prick about everything
Yeah.
else. So who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Who knows?
I don't know if even AEW knows.
Yeah. Overall, the match itself, exciting. Like I said, I started buying into it, even right up to the end, even up to the part with Eddie coming out and shoving, kicking Phoenix out. Thought it was really solid,
Yeah.
but I really had a bit of a letdown from the Pac thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
LAO.
I thought this was a great match. The two package powders, one on the apron, and then finally one in the ring. But as soon as Penta went and ripped Phoenix's mask, that was like whoa, because you never see that in any of these matches.
And,
so
and
then
give Penta some credit, because all we've seen him do is jack for 6 months. He did wrestling moves. I mean, what was that crazy thing he did where they described as a reverse Texas
Cloverleaf?
That was some cool looking move he pulled on him.
where he was holding him upside down. Yeah.
Usually, and I've been getting worried because every time they say Penta does nothing. You watch Penta and Phoenix does 90% of the running around. Penta does his little hand thing, does a drop kick and maybe a Canadian destroyer, and that's it. So it was nice to see him wrestle tonight.
So for me, this was a great match. Package powder, the Canadian destroyer, all the storytelling in this was really great.
All right, I'm gonna throw a different. Actually, here you know, I'm gonna comment on your Penta thing first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that you say, "Oh, Penta doesn't do very much," but yet he's still so over. I think that's a testament.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that, guys that don't have to do much to get over.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's his look or his personality or whatever combination of it, he doesn't have to do everything.
True.
So kudos to him on that.
But he hasn't been doing anything in a tag team. So all of a sudden now he's exposed one-on-one and he has to do something. So that's why I said it was nice to see him do something for
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. The match itself, I'll say that as far as their AEW tenure goes, to me, of course, the first one was still blows this one out of the water. I think, so we got the general agreement in there. Now, the mask ripping thing, the way you guys, it's like, oh, wow, like usually we don't see this. I actually wasn't crazy about it.
Okay.
But as you guys are talking about it from, I can empathize and see it's like, wow, because, this doesn't normally happen. That's so cool. To me, I watched it and I was disappointed in seeing it because of the fact now, I mean, I'm familiar with Lucha Libre. I've wrestled in Mexico. I've wrestled under a mask. So I'd like to say that I've got the firsthand experience of being a part of that culture and experiencing that firsthand. But to me, I saw that not as, oh, this is cool. This is something that they, don't normally do. To me, this is something, just like as we've talked about storylines and we talked about like with the bunkhouse brawl, we talked about the dog collar match. I saw this not as an escalation of things, but I saw this as a waste of something that does have prominence, something that does mean something in a match that didn't really mean anything.
Right.
I mean, because they're having the match. I mean,
there's
it's
no
like,
stakes,
there's no stakes. There's nothing going on. It's not for number one contenders. They're not even billing it as like, like a rematch or anything from after their first match. It was just, hey, we're going to put these two guys, they had best match of the year for AEW. We're going to put them in another match.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked the championship tournament match a lot better than this one.
Yeah. And again, like if there was more story, like, and even this thing with Eddie Kingston, like I'm watching this, it's like, okay, well, this is kind of coming out of nowhere, so who knows if this is going to go anywhere or if this was just a one-off thing. Cause even when this stuff was going on with Pac at the end, you kind of see them out there. It's like, okay, so are they cool with each other? And like, what's going on? Like if this develops into something where he's got them pitted against each other and there becomes more of a rivalry, this is somewhere down the line that I would expect to see the mask ripping spot, kind of the disrespect this way. It just, to me, wasted.
To me, it built story. It built story for the simple fact of from all the times that like I went on this kick for like I used to watch CMLL and I watched it for like 2 years straight when I used to get it and everything. And the one thing I noticed is that sure you'd get the devious guy who would try and unmask you or he would try and move your mask, right?
Yep.
But if you freaking hated somebody, if you had disrespect for them the most, that's when you ripped the mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And then we've noticed that, and Elio's brought it up, how many times has it been in front of Ray Phoenix, my best friend and Ray? He's been cutting this team in half since like for the last month and a half. He's did nothing but since the beginning. He's put Ray down and keep saying how Penta is his best friend. So then I had this, it just gave me this overall, the story was that Eddie has now manipulated them so much that they're looking at it. They mentioned, oh, hey, I brought up things and it's not my fault they didn't like some of the things that I had to point out that they got them mad at each other. So it got to me, it made it felt like that he had manipulated Penta so much that Penta was like, I hate my brother. I disrespect him and I'm going to show that. Then that Ray got so angry and retaliatory that he's like, screw you, I'll show you what a freaking I think that for me, that's what it actually made it go, oh, they've gotten so mad that even though this is worth nothing, this is no blow off, no special, no unmasking. Like they hate each other so much at this moment that they're going to disrespect each other the most because we know how much Mexican wrestlers respect their masks.
With the mask. Yeah. And like I said, as you guys say that, I get that perspective. And, maybe, having said that, maybe I can buy into it a little more. But like I said, for me, my initial reaction to it, like, and I even wrote down, why are they ripping the masks off?
Yeah.
because to me, like I said, that's again where on the one hand, okay,
That's
if they're
different,
building that as the escalation, but at the same time, it's
Mhm.
like, man, like I don't think they had this much heat with each other
Mhm.
that it would warrant mask
But
ripping.
they did have in the last two teams that they were together. Remember, they almost came to blows. One time they came to a blow in a tag team thing, and then when Ray actually beat Penta before he was too hurt,
Yeah.
Penta was like wanting to go push it further, and then they had a match before that or after that where Ray was the one who couldn't quite back down after the match.
Right.
So, and then if you have, Eddie saying the crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of playing the puppet master kind of thing. Yeah.
The
no, I mean,
funny, I got to point this out, guys. Did you notice that we actually kind of got to see their faces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty close. They look nothing like I would have ever guessed. I'm sorry. In my mind, I've always wondered with Penta because he's got the makeup and the whatever. I thought he'd be the
Yes.
hardest one. But when I saw what Ray looked like, I'm like, dude, never saw that coming. Never
Yeah,
saw
with the
that
shaved
coming.
head, and then it's like he's got the dark, and then
Yup.
Penta's got the dark wavy hair. It's
Yeah,
like, oh.
did not see that coming
Yeah.
from either of those dudes.
I find that with a lot of the Mexican wrestlers.
Yes.
I mean, you try to figure out. I'm sure the same thing happened with me when I had my mask, because I remember somewhere on a VHS tape, I think I still have, when I got unmasked in my match against Pantera del Ring. They took the mask off and they're saying, "Oh, okay, aquí es Andy Anderson de Canada," and da 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 da. And then they actually there was a newspaper article the next day on it, and they were saying, "I was like, oh, like he's like a pretty good looking guy," because back then I was a pretty good looking guy.
What
And
happened? Anyways,
that's a lot of years. We don't have that much time in this
No,
podcast to go for that.
no, Andy, you're a handsome young man.
You're a liar, but I still like you. But and it's people saying it like it's like, oh, that's what he looks like. And I still remember there was a comment from a woman who was like, oh, like he's, like I said, like he's a handsome guy. I don't know why he's wearing the mask.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the thing here. And I'll even tell, I can't remember if I've told this little short story here, just so I can do some name dropping. Back in 1997, I had a couple of matches with WCW.
Mhm.
And my first match was in San Bernardino, California, at the Cox Arena. And I remember being backstage, and I don't know anybody there really. Like I got this opportunity. I'm there. And at one point, I remember walking by, and off to the side, I remember seeing Raven, and there's a few other guys standing around. And there was this short guy that was sitting beside Raven, and he looked like a kid. And I remember seeing him at the time, like I didn't go over and introduce myself or anything. I'm like, man, like I wonder whose kid that is.
Who was it?
And it was Rey Mysterio Jr.
I was gonna say, was it Ray? I was honestly gonna say, was it Ray?
Yeah, because this would be one of the 19, because that's still like I think like kind of like very early internet, like World Wide Web. So chances are nobody really knew who Rey Mysterio looked like. Yeah. And that's one of those things I don't forget is like seeing that kid, like, oh, I wonder whose kid that is. Yeah, it was Rey Mysterio Jr. So yeah, it kind of fits in perfectly when you say kind of the mask get ripped, we kind of get a chance to see their faces, and it's wow, that's not what I thought they would look like.
Not at all. Not at all. And I wish I could have guessed that, because in my mind, I always thought I knew Phoenix would kind of look like, but no, he didn't look like that.
No, it's interesting. All right. Is there, you brought up kind of the pack kind of coming out. Is there anything else you want to add to that? Is there anything else you want to touch on, or is that kind of, it was what it was?
I'm confused about who the good guy is, who the bad guy is. And do we really keep needing all these AEW bad guys versus bad guys where you're not supposed to be cheering for anybody?
I would put for who good guy and bad guy is between who?
Between Pac and Eddie.
I think Pac would be the baby face.
Yeah, I'd say Pac is, because he's the
but
one
the bastard.
Yeah.
He still calls himself the bastard. He still comes out angry. I don't know. Maybe that's the way to go. But at the same time, they lost a great chance. I mean, don't you think Eddie Kingston could have really parlayed what happened into like a sympathetic babyface role? Okay, he lost the match. He was a dick. He realized it. Oh man, I thought this was the end. I did some bad shit to try and get Moxley. Moxley beat me. Where do I go from here? I'm not that bad of a guy. I don't want to do this kind of crap anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could have been such a sympathetic thing. And then to have him admit it, as soon as he admitted it, I was like, oh, they're gonna make him a good guy.
Yeah.
But then he carried on with all the other bullshit. It's like, no, they're playing AEW back and forth crap.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have a Canadian moment here and politely disagree with you. I don't think
Mhm.
he's babyface material. I think
Mhm.
he's a heel through and through. So on that, I would go back to kind of how you suggested is, to me, I would rather have him come out. You know, no, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. No, we got the tape. It's right there. No, it's dubbed.
Yeah.
This is, and just whatever. Even if you're gonna steer away from Mox and you're gonna go a different direction, just deny.
Yeah. Yeah. No, gotta agree.
So I don't know. Overall, how did we feel about tonight's show? Is this I can't remember now. Is this do we do
We do the
ratings here?
ABCs. Yeah, we do the report
ABCs?
cards.
Okay, the report cards. There we go. I
This
think
way
I
we have a
said
consistency for fans.
there we go. I know because I think Elliot was it during the aftermath show. I think I said I wasn't sure about the Canadian. I
Yeah,
kind
you
of
said
joked
you
about
don't, you don't subscribe to the letter or number system.
the letters or numbers. I'm not Canadian or American. I just kind of do my thing. So this is we're the all Canadian show here. So we're gonna do the letter system.
The reason I do the letter system is because I know they like to take apart and rate each match.
Yeah.
And the problem I have with that is it doesn't give you the overall feeling of
It
what
is
you
so
got
it is
from
so
a match.
it's so confusing because you might be watching the match, you might give it one grade. By the end of the match, you might grade it a whole nother.
Yeah.
For me, it was just what did you feel like at the end of the show? Was it like
Yeah. All right. So we'll go
Okay.
to you. What did you find for this show tonight?
I'm going to give it a B minus.
Okay.
And the reason why is there was too many times. Do you remember, have you ever put back in the old tapes or looked in the old YouTubes where they used to show you like Super Clash 3?
Okay.
And you'd see like there was a whole bunch of matches, and then you'd see like the first 5 or 6 matches where there's people wrestling, but there's like 20 people in the crowd. There's a fan going, and it's got that feel of like everyone's just going through the motions for other stuff.
Yeah.
Too many matches today had that going on.
Okay.
I could see the fan blowing their pants. I could see the thing, and it was just like, are they really? Is this the match start? This is the pre-match? And that's the problem I had with it. It didn't give you the whole show didn't give you that feeling of a full show.
Yeah.
Plus, there was lots of things that, and I guess we'll talk about this after a little bit about the Full Gear.
Yeah.
Nothing translated over. There was no things that happened really didn't go forward with any kind of matches. And the smallest of appearances, like the Young Bucks. So I'm going to give it a B minus.
Okay. Elio, how about you?
We didn't really see any fallout from Full Gear. So I'm going to give it a B minus as well. This was better than the Go Home show. The Go Home show went nowhere.
Yes.
It didn't go home. It didn't make it past the block.
Yeah. No. All right. You know what? I think we're gonna go 3 for 3 here because that was my first thought too. What was a B minus? There was some okay stuff, some decent stuff, some head scratcher stuff. The audio issues for me. Granted, like I said, this is one of the better shows. I think there was like three promos, 3 segments in a row where there was either no audio issue or it was momentarily and they got it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's associated with AEW, that if you happen to be listening to our show, please fix that audio.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a Bush
distracting
League
as
looking
hell.
thing. It's so frustrating. You guys are better than that. Please do better. But yeah, and also the same thing. It was better than the Go Home show for Full Gear. Not that maybe says a lot, but it had that going for us. And it sounds like they've got a loaded show for next week. So hopefully we'll be doing a lot more positive speaking on next week's global show.
Trust me, it's not like we like to enjoy sitting here putting down stuff. I mean, I want to see these wrestlers succeed. Any wrestler, not just because they're AEW, and to see some of the mishaps and craps we've been seeing lately.
Yeah, and that's Elio and I were kind of talking about that before we started the show, and I said like I'm getting a little frustrated. I said like ever since I started, participating in Global and watching the show more, it seems like I'm getting more and more critical and frustrated with the show. I said, I don't know if, maybe I'm a bad luck charm. Maybe if I stop doing Global, maybe the shows will improve.
No, they were pretty much the same deal before you came on. They had some great ones and a lot of.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, what frustrates me is, and I'm not saying that I'm a pro WWE guy. I mean, I'm a pro wrestling guy. Kind of like you were just saying, I want things to be good. I want them to succeed. I want to be proud as, you know, being in this business and as a fan. If someone's watching the show that's a casual fan or not an existent fan, to be all like, oh wow, like this is cool. So but it frustrates me to hear people that are so pro AEW. It's almost like they're turning a blind eye to all this stuff and saying, oh well, yeah, well, WWE this and that. It's like, I'm not saying that WWE is doing any better, but hey, don't be polishing up this turd and trying to sell it to me as something better than it is.
Yeah. I guess I maybe, and I just want to take a guess at that. And I want to say that these people who are such turning the blind eye thing is the fact that WWE for so long has worked your hopes up and then taken away the things they want. They don't give you what you want. They give you what Vince McMahon wants. So maybe people think that even if it's crappier and lower and indie, sometimes they're getting what they want. And that can make a big difference. You know, you get to see the guy you actually pay money to see, not the person that Vince McMahon thinks you should see because he knows you better than you know yourself, which he said many times. So that's a big turnoff for people. But you're right. You can't just take indie-rific garbage and go, yeah, it's still better than WWE. No, you can't. You know, I agree, Andy. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, that's fine. It's like I said, and it's not a shot at AEW. It's not a shot at WWE. It's just a general shot that, you know, I want this business to do better. And you know, I mean, I'm not trying to play fantasy booker. You know, I try to offer suggestions. I think we all try to offer suggestions for things. And we don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes. We don't know who's hurt. We don't know who's got COVID. We don't know, you know, who's pissing off who or whatever. So, I mean, that, you know, it is what it is. But I want to see better. For the love of our business, I want to see better.
True that. And you know what? I got to say, Andy, you did a great job on this show.
Oh, thank you.
Good job. There is only one thing we all seem to have not talked about, which I thought was kind of cool. Did you guys notice that they changed the opening for AEW? It was a whole new opening graphic segment that was much better than the explosive blood and things and whatever they did. They had a whole new opening today, and it was actually not bad, except for your namesake, Big Swole, in the middle of it doing whatever.
You know, it's funny because I was running a bit late, so I mean, I had to come in like on PVR, so I skipped right through the beginning. Yeah.
And I'm going to confess, the reason I didn't weigh in about Orange Cassidy and whatever is when that popped up, I went, screw this, because I was behind, right? I had to catch up to you guys. Like, I don't need to see this crap. Yeah. I skipped it. I didn't even know they actually spoke.
No, and I said, out of that whole thing, for me, the most frustrating part is Miro. Yeah.
Holy God. The guy who looks like, is that maybe the problem? Does he look too much like a wrestler where the other guys are like, oh, you know, I could see Omega doing something with him, but maybe Cody doesn't want to do anything with the guy who's going to outshine him. I don't know. But that concludes, I think, our look at tonight's AEW Dynamite.
Now, I've done kind of the most of the hosting for tonight, but I don't remember exactly how we usually sign off, so I'll let you do the honors of taking us home, so to speak.
Okay, well, before we do that, I just wanted to say there was a few little clips, because that's all I've seen from Full Gear.
Okay.
And I saw the Nyla Rose thing, and once again, it proves to me that Shida is just one of the top women wrestlers. And wow, Nyla Rose did not look good in there. I mean, she did not look good. I mean, she had a cool costume.
Yeah.
But she could not seem to really run with Shida. And Shida, I think she legitimately might have been knocked out or hurt there by the look of one of the things, because Shida really slowed down and worked around it, but it looked like she was kind of holding her up. What was the other match? And I got to say, I really enjoyed, like for me, being a Kenny Omega fan for a very long time, to see the highlights of the match with him and Paige, it was like, okay, that's the Kenny that I've been missing.
Right.
That's the Kenny, like, I hope we're going to see, because he put on one hell of a great performance from the clips I saw there. So, so thank you, guys. Now I'm curious to see what horrible things you said about me on the opening when I wasn't there.
Before we set off, we should mention where fans can write in.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right.
So,
Well, see,
um,
this is why I'm saying I can't remember how we
Yeah.
do our
so
endings. That's why.
if fans want to write in, send comments, you can do that
Please
you do that on Facebook at Wrestling POV Podcast, Instagram Wrestling POV 1, and Twitter at Wrestling POV.
And don't forget that we are one of many shows on the Wrestling POV network. You have Global, which appears every Friday involving the three of us. We also have WPOV Wrestling, which comes on Saturdays, which features Tony Diaz and Rick Serrano III, where they take a very deep look at all the going-ons in the WWE universe, except NXT UK, which it doesn't exist to them. But they take a look at that, and they even do a little bit of a comparison of AEW versus NXT in the Wednesday Night Delight, where if Andy ever watches the other shows NXT, he can vote in on time. Probably not, though. He's a busy man. We're lucky to get him for what we got. So you can watch that. We also have WPOV Quarantine, which appears every Tuesday, which is a Zoom format show featuring the three of us, where we invite wrestlers from all across North America. Sometimes, hey, we had a guy come in from New Zealand one time. We sit around, we have some well-named guys, some up-and-coming guys, some veterans. We sit and we talk deep into a topic. We've done so many different topics, and we told you guys where to write in. There's a topic you want to see. There's some guests that you think that you want to see. We can try. I mean, no guarantee we'll get them, but we've had some great ones, including last week. We had a terrific one involving 3 female wrestlers who took a really deep look at what it's like to be a woman wrestler in the different years in professional women's wrestling. And, we've had so many great topics. Some are fun, some are silly. Most of them are just some deep talks about some really cool stuff. So I invite you guys to join in to see that. And you heard Andy, which I believe he hosted the last one, WPOV Quarantine. Quarantine's a special show that we try
Aftermath.
Aftermath.
I said quarantine. Aftermath is the show that we try and do after a pay-per-view or a big show of some kind, where we try and do it fresh right away, right off the thing, and talk about what we've seen. And we may talk about some of that stuff on other shows, but here's a chance to get a mixture of all the WPOV guys. Who knows who's going to show up? That one had Elio, it had Andy, and it had Tony Diaz. So who knows would be on the next one, but they're fun, and they're one of the many shows that we have, and we have a bunch of stuff coming for you fans in the future. We're also taking requests of things you want to see, hear, and do. We're the people for you. WPOV Network is here to put your point of views, our point of views, and other wrestlers' point of views. And remember, wrestling's fun. It's great. You're part of a family of guys who enjoy something weird when there's men or women wearing their underwear, wrestling around homoerotically in a ring, if that's your thing. I don't know. That's how people have described it, but we know better. And
Did you mention the platforms that they can find us on?
Screw that. I ain't mentioning no goddamn platform. Okay. Platforms. I have just been sent to the principal's office and whacked across the hand for a whipping. That's what we used to get in Canada. I don't know what you know, but I get a whipping on the hand. So I just got one from Principal Elio. And what we'd like to say is, what he's reminding me of is to tell you the different platforms. Who knows what platform you're listening on, but Facebook is one. We have iTunes, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube.
Podbean?
Podbean. I always forget the Podbean.
Yeah,
and
that's the only one I remember now, because that's when you always forget.
But there's many platforms. You have no excuse not to watch us, to listen to us. And you want your wrestling fan? We're wrestling fans. We love to hear what you guys are all about. We love to tell you what we're all about. And it's just a fun time. So, you know what? It's been a great show. Andy, thanks for filling in. Sorry, I slid in on you guys unexpectedly. And like I said, it was fun, though, to get in. And Elio, like I say every week.
Fans, we will talk to you all next week.